Hey everybody and welcome to the channel. I'm going to start off very quickly by checking my audio. Audio check 1, 2, 3.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Hey, everybody, welcome and thank you so much for joining the live. I'm pretty much experimenting today because I'm trying this thing out on both channels. Thank you so much for being a part of the live. I'm assuming my audio is good now. Hey, sis, thank you so much for being here. Hey, cool gamer. Hey to everyone in the clouds. Hey to those who will be coming in. Today we're gonna start, or we're gonna have a discussion about domestic violence or domestic abuse, as know it to be called. Hey, Miss Gerald. Um, we have a special guest today. I haven't seen her in the chat just yet, so I'm hoping that she received her notification. We know how the notifications go here on YouTube, so I'm hoping she got her notification. But this person who is going to be coming on today, she has been here before. She's had this, she's told us a bit about her experience with living with an abusive person before. Um, okay, sis. She's told us about, her experience living with an abusive person before, right? Um, I think it was one of those late night chats that I did a few months ago, and I asked her, would you like to come back one day and talk to us about it? And she's that type of person who loves to share, and she doesn't have a problem helping somebody out, if they need that type of help. Hey, Tracy's World, thank you so much for coming. I'm just gonna check with her real quick to make sure that she got her notification, and then we're just gonna go right into it. Okay. All right. Oh, here she is. Here she goes. Hey, sis. Good to see you. Okay, so I am currently streaming on my two channels. So let's see what's going to happen here when I drop my link. And I'm hoping it goes into that chat because this is my first time streaming on both channels. And for those who are not aware, I've had another channel for almost another year. I called it my backup page, but I've decided to use that other channel where I'm going to focus only on things like interviews, discussions, my original games that I did before, karaoke as you know it, as well as other stuff that, are not necessarily beef sector related. So that's what I'll be using that channel for. I'm going to drop the link right now for our long awaited guest. Thank you so much for coming. Here we go. There goes the link, child. Let me know if you see it. Hey, I'm Miss Gerald, and who else did I see coming? Hi again to you, Tracy's World. And for those who are coming here for the first time, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you. My name is Carrie, and I appreciate you guys for stopping by. So I'll just wait to see if she gets the link, and then I'll let her up real quick, and we will start our conversation. Okay, here we go. Oh no. Okay, here we go. Hey, V. I
Hey,
see.
how are you?
I'm doing good, and I'm hoping the same for you.
Oh, all is well here.
I see you're still under your SpongeBob.
Oh, I am. Let me go out and come back in.
Okay,
Let me go back out and come back in. I'm
but you know
sorry.
what? I think I could change it for you from here.
Oh, let me see. See,
I think I
that's when you play too much.
okay. I'll put designs by V. Is that
Yeah, 'cause I
okay?
could go out there and come back in. Just change it out.
Okay, there we go. There
Oh,
we go.
girl, you smart. I'm not.
There we go. Thank you so much for coming up. I appreciate you for doing that. Okay.
Welcome.
Ah, you're looking beautiful as per
Thank you.
usual. I was over there in your clouds watching your haul with your bags, your Brahmin bags and stuff. But I didn't
Yeah.
drop down. I was just listening in and peeping when I could. All right. So welcome again to the channel, everyone. Today we will be having a serious discussion,
Hi,
one that
everyone.
one that most people, experience. Some people don't speak about it, but we're going to be talking a little bit about domestic violence, domestic abuse, or for some people, they call it intimate partner violence. And in its simplest form, we can think about it as when an attempt by anyone, and it could be male or female, in a marriage or an intimate setting or relationship that tries to dominate and control the other. So that's what we can think of. When we think of domestic violence or domestic abuse, this is what comes up. And today we have no other than the beautiful Designs by V, who will be telling us about her story. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself before we go into it? Because I want you to let them know you have a channel also.
Well, my name is V, and my channel is Designs by V. And I've been a content creator for about 5 years now. My channel is about home decor and lifestyle, travel, break it down, fix it up, DIY, and much, much more.
Okay.
My channel does.
So her hands are very creative. That's all we need to know. Okay.
Mhm.
She designs clothing. Is this one of your designs?
No, this is not one, but I do.
Okay. She does design clothing too. Let's put that plug in too. Okay. All right. So let us begin. I want you to start off, V,
Mhm.
by letting us know. We're going to go all the way back. Let's take a trip back to the very beginning. How did
Yeah.
you meet with your, let me call him, your ex partner? Let's go there.
Um, I was on my way to, I had an immigration appointment because I'm a foreigner and all, I'm from the islands. I had an immigration appointment and I met him on that day. Um, I can't remember the year, but I met him on that day. Yeah. And had a conversation, and he thought that I gave him the wrong number. We end up meeting up like because we kind of live in the same area, but he was new to the city, and we end up running into each other. And he was like, "Hey, you gave me the wrong number." I was like, "No, I didn't." And he wrote the number wrong. So that's how we
Oh,
met.
okay. So you met outside. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's go to the second question. How so you met and then of course numbers were exchanged, you called and you developed, a friendship, I would want to think.
Oh yeah.
Um what was that like in the beginning of your new relationship, or what made you decide you were going to become, involved with this person after that
Well,
meetup?
well, I think about the second time we met up, um, what started the other conversation with us. The second time we met up, I was taking, I think, some food to a friend, and
Mm-hmm.
I seen him, and he was like, asking me where I'm going, what's Pleasant and everything. And
Mm-hmm.
I told him where I was going. He was like, "You know how to cook?" I said, "Yeah, I was taking food to a friend." He's like, "You know how to cook?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, my mother generation cooked. This new generation don't cook. Like after my sisters and them, um, girls don't cook no more. And I was like, well, I do. So he was like, well, he said, well, do you mind fixing me a plate? And I was like, sure, but let me take my friends to, where go on my, where I was going. I said, and then I'll let you know. I'll call you and tell you when I'm ready. And we started talking, and he was fascinated. It was his first time having Caribbean food, and he was fascinated by it. And that type of comfortability led one conversation and led another conversation. And before you know it, we started dating.
Okay, so that's a little bit of a backstory as to how you guys got together and started dating. Okay, cool. Thank you for letting me know about that. Now,
Hmm.
you decided, how long after that did you guys live together?
I will say, about a year. About a
Okay.
year later, we moved in together, but we continued to see each other until um that year.
Mm-hmm.
Then we decided to move in with each other.
Okay. So how did he treat you? Because we're gonna get into the this part where you're gonna tell us a little bit about some of the things you experienced as it relates to the
Mhm,
domestic violence or the domestic abuse. But
mhm.
how did he treat you prior to becoming this abusive person?
Very kind, very complimentary. He's very smart, and I say he is very smart. He came from well-educated people. Like his background are all lawyers and doctors and stuff like that. And I like smart people. And I was intrigued. And even with his knowledge, like in that sense, he wasn't cocky. He was willing to share. I always say, even today, he is one of the best teachers that I know. Like if he taught you something, he will teach you 15 different ways to comprehend it.
Okay. So
So that was one of his great qualities.
mm-hmm. Okay. So he treated you very nice in the beginning.
Yeah, he treated me
Very
well,
kind. Okay.
very kind.
What about financially?
Financially, he did not have it like that because he had just moved to New Jersey from North Carolina. His people had money. That's what, I guess he was being supported by them at the time. And he was generous to me, but it's not like, it wasn't a whole ton of money.
Okay. All right. So what were some of the, okay, so you're into the relationship, it's been a year. What were some of the red flags that gave you the impression that, you know what, this man is actually abusive? So what were some of the things that made you realize that this nice, kind person who taught you things, who cared for you so much, what made you
Mhm.
realize that he was changing?
Well, I would say 6 months. It was earlier. 6 months into getting to know him. It's only now, well, I wouldn't say it's only now looking back. It's only when I was out of the relationship, you look back and you say, sometimes people say, oh, I didn't see this would have ended up like this. 6 months into the relationship, I noticed the possessive side.
Wow.
She didn't want me to talk to anyone. I remember my younger brother was visiting the US, and he did
Hmm.
not believe that my brother was my brother.
Why?
So I noticed that earlier.
Okay, so so was that the only red flag that you noticed?
The possessive side, I remember, like, okay, you and I are from the islands, and food is nothing really to give to someone. I remember giving a male neighbor some food, and he went ballistic. He said, food is a way to a man's heart, and I'm trying to tell him that I want him by feeding.
Wow. So I guess, ooh, the coincidence, the irony of it all, because you met him and that's when he was asking you about food and stuff. Okay. So you won his heart by, letting him sample Caribbean food. Like you
Girl,
said,
I
he's
didn't even
never
think
eaten.
about that.
And look at that. Now later on you're giving food to somebody else and he got jealous. So these are some of the flags that you started to see. So you
Yeah.
started, did he even start accusing you of, well, that would fall under him accusing you of cheating or thinking about cheating. Okay, so those were
Well,
some of the red flags.
yes.
Go ahead.
I would say like a little later than the 6 months, that's when a friend of mine, he was from one of the islands, and he said to me, he asked me if I know this guy, and he called his name. And I was like, yeah. He said, he has a picture of you, and he's asking people how well they know you,
Wow.
because he couldn't believe who you said that you were.
Wow. I know people do their background checks and stuff, but that type of behavior.
Uh, the thing is, for my personality, it's like similar to people. They will, like, for instance, with you on YouTube. I don't know if it's a Caribbean thing, but it's like if you don't want someone to get under your skin, they
Mm-hmm.
can. Like, nothing makes me rah rah.
Right.
And the type of, well, this is what he said. I didn't even find myself there until later on. And he was like, a pretty girl like you, and you not dating nobody else. And, everywhere you go, people say hi to you, and you want to tell me you have never. So he thinks I may have someone
Ooh,
and still talking to him,
the
because he couldn't
insecurities.
believe that I had said yes to a relationship with
Right. He was that's his insecurities showing coming right through.
him.
Okay. All right. So but despite you see the red flags, you still decided to go you still loved him despite, the little things that you saw.
Actually, my young self, because I was like, I think I was like 22, 20 something when I met him. I literally thought that was cute.
Oh. I'm going to pause a little bit, V, because it's funny you said that. I was watching this video. This lady, she was saying some of the things that the guy was doing for her, and for her, she thought it was so cute. He wanted to know where I am, what I'm doing. We always had to talk, FaceTime and stuff. So for her, she thought it was a cute thing, but in the end, she realized that he was actually a stalker, to be quite honest. I'm gonna
Mhm.
play it so you can hear it real quick. 1 second. Can you hear my background?
Mm-mm. No, I can't.
I want to make sure the people in my back, you can't hear them, because everybody decides to come around me when I'm doing my own thing. I don't know why. Hold on, let's go.
Tell me what happened to you. Okay. About 4 years ago, I began a relationship with a man who was energetic and enthusiastic and charismatic, and I thought he was great. And 10 months later, I wasn't allowed to go to Walmart by myself. He followed me to work. I was scared, and my children were sleeping with their shoes on because they were afraid that he was going to hurt me and they would have to get away. When the relationship started, he didn't come to me and say, in 10 months, all of these things, this is how it's going to be. You won't be talking to your friends and family. You're going to be completely isolated. You're going to be completely alone. There'll be no way for you to get help. And I will be watching you. And I have verbally and emotionally abused you to the point that you think there's no way out. Most of your basic needs. You won't be sleeping. You won't.
There we go. So you realize at the beginning of her of the video, she said he was so kind, he was so compassionate, you know, he wanted to know what everything she was doing, and little did she know, and he didn't even make her aware that, you know what, this is just how I'm going to be for right now. 10 months later, she said things changed for her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's similar to what you're saying to me. Look at how nice he was. You said he taught you stuff, and you know, he appeared to think that you were, you know, too good to be true.
Mm-hmm.
You were too kind, you were too nice. But you know what? They always show those red flags. They always exhibit them. Hold
Mm-hmm.
on one second. I'm sorry about that. I got background distraction. Okay. All right. So now that we found out about what the backstory was like, when did you guys start having children? Because I want us to talk a little bit about how you having children, if that's when most of the other forms of abuse started.
Well, when he met me, I had one child. She was like 2.5.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, she was like 2.5. And I will say maybe a year and some months of knowing him, I got pregnant with my second child.
Mhm. Come on, V. You know you can talk to me. Come, you can keep talking, keep going.
No,
What?
I thought it would have been like how we will talk is like a back and forth. So you asked me about the children. So
Okay.
so a year, a year and something into it, we had the first kid. And upon having the first kid, I would say that's where insecurities showed up. Um, he started, he would tell me, well, this is what this person told me, that the kid was not his. He never said, this is how
Wow.
he felt. He said, this is what someone told him. This is what my grandmother said. This is what
Oh
somebody
man.
said. So I was like, actually, it was to a point where you ever heard something so much that you start maybe believing it.
Really? It
So
was
I
that
was
bad.
like, no, it was like I never seen myself because it's just like he said, I was too good to be true. I didn't have the numbers. I didn't have I didn't have like a lot of boyfriend experience. So to be at this point and have a kid, and then he'll say, well, this is what somebody said, this is what somebody said. So I said, what do you think? And he's like, well, I believe his minds, but I could tell that there was doubt in the way that he was speaking. And then he told me the story of when someone told him that they were pregnant by him before.
Wow.
He had a scholarship to Morehouse University. Well, first his family was in church. They had this church, a retreat or something like that, but it's for the younger children. He met this girl, I think she came from Ohio. And I think the second year of her visiting, the both of them got involved with each other. Do my phone look dark? Let me see. Yeah, the second year of her visiting the retreat or the summer camp, whatever it was, they got locked into each other. And a few months later, she called him and told him that she was pregnant. He had just finished high school and had gotten a full scholarship to Morehouse University. And he said that that shocked his world. He told his parents, and the parents told him, well, we're not in any condition to take care of a kid, so we don't believe in abortion. So the best thing is, instead of quitting school and going to get a regular job, you should go to the military. So he decided to make that decision to let go his scholarship and go into the military. 9 months passed. He had gone to Germany. And 9 months later, after she had the kid, they joined him in Germany. And about a month later, she told him that she is not sure who the kid was for because she did sleep with someone else.
Oh wow. So I can
And,
see where the insecurities were coming in. Go ahead.
and that right there, he lived with that because at the time when him and I met, well, let me go back. After that, he said he got really depressed knowing that, yes, that happened. She doesn't know who the kid is for. He he gave up his scholarship. He started going through everything that he wanted to do with his life, knowing that he came from educators and how he wanted to further his studies. And he saw that as just, well, I mean, anyone will see it as a big setback in your life, like you gave up for something you thought it was good and you realize it what you thought was not. So he told me that story and then proceeded to tell me, you know, well, what happened on the day, how he felt, and how he reacted towards her.
So that made him question whether or not the child was yours.
He never said it. I told you that I felt like getting to know him over the year and months. I got to know when he was pleased because in a lot of ways he was very honest, but he did not come out and say, well, I don't believe that. I don't believe the kid was mine. He just told me, look what other people said. But from his demeanor, I could have tell that's what he believed also.
Do you think he had issues with low self-esteem too?
Yes, yes, yes. And he had told me a story about one of his best friends. Like they grew up together, went to every summer camp together, and the girlfriend that he had that, since grade school, some kid think he have a girlfriend, but they went through every grade together and they were together in his,
Mm-hmm.
and the friend knew that.
Yeah.
And well, the friend I think, was dating a cousin or a sister, and he was dating the other girl. And he
Mm-hmm.
found out, I think his junior year, he found out that his friend, that his first girlfriend, his friend had messed around with her.
Oh
So he had
wow.
trust issues.
Wow. So the insecurities, yes, the trust issues, jealousy too. I'm gonna put that one in. All
Hmm.
of that. Tell me some of the ways in which you were abused in the relationship.
Well, I would say, like for instance, I was in school when we met. I was going to school. I forget for what I was going for. And I remember the instructor that was teaching was a male, and he said to me, he said, I know where your boyfriend, no, he asked me something about my boyfriend. I was like, my boyfriend. And he was like, yeah. He said, I know who he is. And I was like, no, you don't, because he's not from Jersey, where we live. I said,
Mm-hmm.
he is like an import. So I don't think you know him. He said, yes, I do. How he knew who he was, he came up to the school
Oh my God. Are you
and told him. And apparently, what happened before that, he came up there and witnessed me talking to different individuals.
wow.
And then I guess he find like I spoke to the instructor a lot. So he went up. He went that day that the instructor was telling me about. He threatened him.
Are you serious? That is the extremes that they go to.
Mhm.
Wow. So he was even secretly going to your school to watch you, to see who you interacted with,
Mhm.
as well as to see, and to make sure to see the males that you were talking to, so he could then, oh wow, threaten your instructor. Wow. So that was one of the first signs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And then the next one was I had a job. He didn't want me to work anymore.
Wow.
I will take care of everything. You don't need to work because I don't like who is at your job.
So he started to exert the power and control, right? So we
Mhm.
start to see these patterns of him trying to maintain some type of control and power over you. All
Yes.
right. So these are some of the
Um.
tactics that they normally use, it
Mhm.
starts off subtly, and then it gradually becomes very continuous over time. All
Mhm.
right, keep going.
With friends, I have friends like since I came to this country, because I came here when I was 16. And it was like, I don't like her. I don't like the way she dressed. I don't think you should talk to her. She'll make you look bad.
Wow.
Again,
Isolation.
the story about my brother who is not really my brother. I don't want you to talk to him. Um,
Wow.
and then the other one was with the picture that he'll go around asking who knows me and am I for real? And the next one was one of the lady. I lived in an apartment building, and the lady asked me, she said, how well you know this guy? And I said, oh, that's my boyfriend. I know him well. And she said, something is wrong with him. And I was like, what? She said, you left the house. And I was in I had looked out my window. And as soon as you got down the street, he came out. She said, I just happened to after I looked out the window and I thought that was strange. She said, I was on my way to work and I noticed that he was walking behind you in the direction
Wow.
that you were going, but like ducking behind.
Hide in so you wouldn't see. So that is already one sign. Well, a few you've mentioned signs of
Mhm,
control and isolation, because
mhm,
he started isolating you from your friends,
mhm.
telling you who he didn't like. Um, already signs of emotional abuse also, especially when he's accusing you of infidelity and all of these things. So we're
Mhm.
seeing these different signs, and so we're seeing emotional. We've seen I haven't heard you mention verbal, but signs of control and isolation. Did he at any time physically abuse you?
Yes. It was one day I forget what the conversation was about. Can't remember what it was about. But he thought that I was not telling the truth. Is the camera going darker?
Not from here. Let me check with the chat to see what they think,
Okay.
because I'm not seeing that from
I'm gonna
my
put it on my
end.
top. I'm gonna put it on my top light.
Okay. All right, guys. For those who are just coming in, you are watching Designs by V, who has made it who has decided that she's going to spend some time with us today and tell us about her journey, her experiences with domestic violence or domestic abuse.
Yes. So, like I said, it was like straight the control of you can't do this, you can't talk to this person. Um, I don't want you to go here. Stuff that he didn't know that I know that he was following me every time I leave because I guess he wanted to bust me doing something, but
Mm-mm.
never did. But like I said, the first argument was it was something he felt that I wasn't telling the truth about. And that's where, like a fist in the wall.
Yep, it starts there. They don't always start with hitting you, because sometimes what happens is they'll break other stuff around you or threaten to hurt people you love or threaten to, destroy stuff that you like. So it normally starts that way. So the
Mhm.
physical, so it was to the wall, but did he touch you at any point?
Yes. And I really cannot remember the events of the first one because you know,
Oh,
there was
oh,
people.
okay.
But yes, I was
And then
physically.
how did he respond, when he realized when you touched you? Like
I
how did he
remember the I remember the
respond?
first one. I remember the first time it happened. He cried and he apologized.
Mm-mm.
And he shared an intimate story that happened to him as a kid. And that's the reason why he is the way that he is. I'm not going to talk about his story
Mm-hmm.
because I
You are
believe
cool right now.
I believe that he owned the right to it
Mm-hmm.
to share with whomever he choose. I would not I would not publicize
Disclose
his
that,
story.
right?
I
Yeah,
would
you
not
don't you
publicize
don't
his
have
story.
to. But then sometimes when they do that to get sympathy and stuff from you.
And that's what it was.
Right.
That's what I realized that was, yes, the story was true. I
Mm-hmm.
since then found I didn't doubt him when he told me the story because, like I told you, he was truthful.
Yeah.
And when he told me the story, I felt sorry for him because what he said after he said me the story, because after the first time he put his hands on me,
Mm-hmm.
and because I didn't grow up in that type of environment. So it was just shocking to me, and I was going to leave. And he
Yeah.
said, he told me the story, and he was like, "Please don't do to me like others
That
have."
person did to me.
Yeah,
Right.
well, others too, because it's not just one issue the person had. Not one issue he had. So
Mm-hmm.
he was just talking of how others, he feel like others had abandoned him.
Mm-hmm.
That I
Felt sorry for him.
Yeah, and I felt sorry, and I
Mm-hmm.
remember feeling like, you know what, that maybe this is the reason why he is the way he is,
Mm-hmm.
and if I show him
To
how to
love.
be,
Mm-hmm.
he will end up changing. Because going back to the what he told me about the girl being pregnant for him,
Yeah.
he told me the events that happened, the fit of rage that he got into after she told him that the kid wasn't his. Which and I expect him to be upset. I expect me to be upset or anybody else who hear news like that. But
Mm-hmm.
he gave me a script months ago. That's like a year ago on what he did. And again, I would say, I think I said this on your channel before. In a lot of ways, we make excuse for others bad
Others'
behavior.
behavior, right?
Yeah, because one of the first red flag was, well, mainly not the first one. Yeah, that's one of the first red flag because I think pretty earlier, I think he retold me the story once I was pregnant, but he had told me the story before why he was single. And when he told me what happened with them in Germany, her, telling him that she doesn't know if his kid or the guy kid. When he told me that, I remember looking back a few years later after I left him, I realized that there was even things before he actually put his hands on me. Like when he told me how he treated her and the things that he did, I somehow I somehow made myself better than her.
Yeah.
Better than her in a sense that, well, that's real sloppy. If I was pregnant, because I'm not a runaround person,
I wouldn't do this.
1 second. 1 second.
Okay. And while V is gone, please check in the chat. I just dropped the link to her channel. V also has a YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe to her channel. The link is in the chat, and you could see more of her fashion, more of the things she does, that she creates with her hands. She could tear a whole room down and fix it up. She sews, she makes wigs, she does a lot of stuff. So you can go ahead, subscribe to her channel to see some of her designs. Okay, she is back. Hey, everybody coming in. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you guys for checking me out. Okay, so we were talking some of the different. Oh, you don't see the link? I must have dropped it in the other chat. Okay, I'll try dropping it in the next one. The channel name is Designs by V. You'll see that. Okay, Maz, if you could get it from me, I would appreciate it. But I think the link went to the other channel probably. So I'll try to find it and drop it again. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies, for listening, and thank you so much for dropping down and engaging in the chat. And thank you again to Designs by V for
You're welcome.
being so brave to come and talk about this. So most of the things that we have heard so far are some of the types of abuse. And for those who don't understand, when we think about domestic abuse, it is not only physical abuse. Domestic abuse can come in the form of economic abuse, because you may have a partner that prevents you from getting a job, and I think you did mention something about that, V. And
Yeah, he's
even when
not
you were
wanting me to work.
didn't want you to work, so you will be dependent on him.
Mhm.
So they'll try to keep you away from getting a job. They will probably keep you away, so they'll probably give you allowances, so you're always dependent on them. So we can also think about economic abuse. You can think about different intimidation abuse, or using intimidation, I should say, by making you afraid to do stuff. They'll destroy property. You spoke earlier on about him punching the wall and stuff. It's all to get a rise out of you. It's all to see how you are going to respond when they do this, by damaging stuff, damaging property, abusing pets, displaying weapons. These are some of the intimidation tactics that are used. There's also emotional abuse. Threatening to hurt you, threatening to hurt your family members, making you feel bad about yourself, because here you are, this nice, vibrant person from, he met you, knows you're from the Caribbean, saw something in you that he may not have been seen in other women that he was familiar with. So he starts to make you feel bad about yourself.
Actually, I don't think I was. I was very shy.
You think you are
And
too?
I was
Oh
very
yeah, you
shy.
did mention that in the
Yeah, I
last
was
live.
very
Yes, you
shy.
did.
And he could not believe. He was
Thank
like,
you, Ronnie
"Well, a
Q.
girl like you so pretty. You could get anybody you want. Why, everything is so like it's so prim and proper. Like I
Mm,
guess he was used to, I don't know, run around."
probably. There's also coercive control, where they'll still like carry out threats and stuff, or threatening to hurt themselves. There are so many different forms. I can't talk about all of them. There's stalking. There is, and not only physically stalking, because your neighbor did tell you that he followed you to work. You were going to work, I think you said, and he was following you and hiding, and you didn't even know. There's psychological abuse. There's sexual abuse. Even if you are married, you can be sexually abused. As you have partners who force their partners to strip, force their partners to become sex workers or prostitutes, or accuse them continuously of being promiscuous, or force them to engage in certain type of sexual acts too in the bedroom with them. That
Yeah,
is also
he
a form.
accused me in that way. He was never forceful in that way. He'll accuse me of, being with someone else.
Mm-hmm.
There was another thing that he'll accuse me of. I'm kind of jumping, right?
That's
I've
okay.
always kept a beautiful home. And he did not, I guess, it's only later on he understood the creative side of me. And it's just it's taking nothing and making it something.
Mm-hmm.
So he would say to me, "Well, I didn't give you that much money. How you are able to buy this and buy that?
Mm-mm.
Who you messing with? Who man you messing with that have more money than me?"
Oh wow. This man was super, super insecure. I don't even want to use the word damaged. He needed help. He needed external help. That's all I'm gonna
Yeah,
say
like
at that time.
even in terms of food, he would say, um, "I know I didn't give you all this money. Where all these groceries coming from?" Like
Wow.
that's a generous man. Like he know we together.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That is crazy. That is crazy. And another thing, for example, that comes under financial or economic abuse. Another
Mhm.
thing that women, or not only females, males, because domestic abuse does not necessarily happen only to females. Let's get that really straight. It could happen to anyone that's
Mhm.
in a relationship, whether male or female. And you did speak a little bit about economic abuse a while ago. There are other ways that your partner can abuse you financially. They
Girl,
will
I didn't
even
even know
have,
there was economic abuse. This is
girl,
my first time hearing this one
yeah,
because
financial abuse, child.
I never, when I think economic is like keeping something from you, he never kept
Well,
finance.
he stopped
Excuse
you
me,
from working.
stopped me from
That's
working.
economic.
But
Yep.
I didn't even think about it like that because, and even after he stopped me from working, and everything he told me not to do, or the people he told me not to talk to, I stopped
Mm,
talking to them. Only thing
wow.
he couldn't stop me from doing was interacting with my family.
Wow. That was a part of the
Because
emotional
I
abuse
felt
too.
like, well, that's all he wants to make things better. It's just him and I against the world. So,
Mm,
I could just
little
stop
did
talking to her.
little did you know that was the sign of the isolation and the control.
Hmm.
You have those. There are other ways in which they would control you, like checking on your text messages, going through your phones, and your emails are monitored.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, we didn't have
guilt
cell
you.
phone then.
Did he make you feel guilty about like dressing up and
Oh,
wearing nice
definitely. Definitely.
stuff?
For once I realized that I decreased myself to have the relationship to increase. So I
Wow.
stopped dressing. I remember there's times that he'll come home, maybe I'm going in the shower, he say, hold up, hold up. And if I was wearing like, pretty on the garment lace, well, who you wear that for? I wasn't home. So what's going on?
Wow. Darn. That was excessive. Oh wow. So all of that kindness and love and stuff that you've fallen in the beginnings started to change.
Mhm.
What were your did your children get exposed to his behavior? And if so, how did it make them feel? How do they manage?
Actually, I end up having 4 children for him.
Mm-hmm.
And knowingly, and this is what I'm saying, knowingly, I don't think any one of them, I was good at covering. So I don't think any one of them be a weakness, but the oldest one that's not his, she did not like him. She couldn't stand him. And, I don't think she ever saw the physical, but she heard like the yelling and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I would not say anything, not to make it escalate.
Right, not to let him be more
Yeah,
upset or her upset. That
yeah.
is crazy. You see, these children, they know, they
Hmm.
know, they know. And you spoke earlier on about him isolating you or trying to isolate you from your family. But you were allowed to still speak to them. But your friends, you ended up having to cut off most of your
Oh
friends.
yeah, I stopped dealing with them because I wanted, he was a really nice guy, and I wanted this to work. And if you love me as your friend, you would let me just go on and just be with him. But it didn't matter what I took out to or increase to make him happy. It got worse. It'll be at times the phone will ring. He'll be home, and the phone will ring, and someone hang up the phone. Well, by the time he got to the phone, it was hung up on. And he's like, oh, so he know I'm home.
Oh Lord. Oh
So
wow.
it would be if he answered the phone and somebody didn't answer, if the phone was hung up on, he
Mm-hmm.
knew. This is in his head. He knew.
Yeah.
There was another one after I left him. One of the neighbors told me who she told me that he will leave the house and take his car and park up the street and walk back down and go to the other end of the block to see if I leave.
Oh my God. Oh child. He was. Oh, he needed help. He really did.
Everything about me was unbelievable.
Wow. And your neighbors were there showing you some of those red flags. But sometimes when you're in a relationship, sometimes you don't see the things for what they really are. Or sometimes you're trying so hard to make the relationship work that you overlook some of the stuff
I
that
I
they do.
remember I remember
It is Ronnie Q.
I remember thinking I was not raised with my birth father. I was raised with an excellent stepfather who was a father and still a father to us.
Mm-hmm.
But I always knew that that was not my dad, even though he treated us great. Um, there was no different than how the two children that he had with my mom, he treated all of us the same. But I knew that was not my father. And I had longed to have what I just felt like it was different the way that he treated his in my young brain. So how he treated us. Yes, sorry about that. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
so how he treated us, but looking back on it, he was just excellent to us. So it was it was a made up thing in my head. And
Uh,
I say all of that to say, is because I wasn't raised with my birth father, that was one of the reasons why I fought to stay, because I wanted that
your
to pass
family to
on my
stay
children.
together.
I like ours. I like we're pregnant. We're this, we that. I like that togetherness. So I
Mm-hmm.
fought hard to keep
The
that together.
family unit together.
Yeah.
Oh. All right, so we've heard about some of the stuff that he's done. Let me see if I could remember some of them.
Mm-hmm.
Wanted you to stop working,
Mm-hmm.
didn't want you to advance yourself, to go to school. Was watching you, stalking you,
Mm-hmm.
letting you feel insecure.
Mm-hmm.
What else did I hear? Verbally
Decrease,
abusive.
yes, decrease myself. So
He could feel superior.
well, the part, yes, ultimately that what happened, but I felt like if I don't dress up,
Mm-hmm.
then I wouldn't get accused.
Right, because he did accuse you of cheating.
Yeah.
He was very insecure. He was very insecure and very controlling. And that's quite unfortunate. You're a young woman having to deal with that, plus raising four children at the time. So that must have been stressful to you. Were your family aware of any other things? That brings me to my next question. Did you get to reach out to anyone in your family to let them know what was happening to you? Because you did say you were still, communicating with your family.
Oh no, that was my shame. That was me fighting to keep this together. It was my shame and it was my secret. And I didn't want anybody to know because I always felt like I could have made it better. Hey, Carrie?
I'm sorry, I was here talking on mute, child. I'm sorry. What was
Yeah,
the last straw for you?
I always felt like I could have made it better. So The only thing that I was not willing to give up was my siblings. I'm the only sister. And let me tell you how much I protected him. I have 10 brothers, but
Ooh.
like five in the US at the time. And my brothers are 6 feet plus, powerhouse.
Ooh.
They did not know.
If only 5 of those brothers knew, he would have gotten a beatdown of a
I actually
lifetime.
felt sorry for him.
Wow.
I actually felt sorry for him. I've never called the police on him. I've never told my brothers about it. Even when they found out anything, it was when a neighbor said something, eventually said something to them.
Wow, that was a lot. And you didn't even tell any of them. And
Yeah.
that could have brought all of that to an end very, very quickly.
It would have brought it to an end, but I remember growing up, my mom said something to me that have nothing to do with that, but you have to be careful how you process information. I have my brothers, and my brothers are they they pit bulls over me.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom had said to me, she said she see that young girl sometimes they go find themselves in trouble and then go call a family member. It was an incident in the island where someone had died and the girl had lied.
Oh.
And she was like, if anything were to ever happen to you before you tell your uncles, because you know how they will respond, or your brothers, that will keep them away from their family, like they do something and end up going to jail or something like that because of what I said. She said, come to me, I'll make sense.
Mm.
So, not knowing how to sift the information she gave me,
Yeah.
I just never got them involved.
You wanted to also protect them too.
I wanted to protect them.
I get what you're saying. I see
And
that.
honestly, looking back on it, I'm glad I did.
Hmm. Okay.
I'm glad I did because on the other end of it,
Mm-hmm.
trouble, they have a saying in the islands, trouble don't set up as rain. Like if it's going to rain, you're
Trouble
going to
never
see the
set like
clouds.
rain.
Yeah,
Do you
you see
guys say
the,
that too on your
yeah.
island? Oh, that's okay.
So you just don't know. Sometimes all it takes, you give somebody one tap. And I know my brothers were powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And he could have been, boom. The law ain't going to tell you thanks. you
Okay.
know and then because I have looking back on it, because I never said anything to anyone about it, it will be, in a case of something really happening, it'll be his word against my word, and stuff like that. And years of abuse, physically, all the stuff we mentioned. um okay, I'm gonna leave you to lead it right here.
No, you can feel comfortable to say
No,
it
no, no.
wherever you want
You
to.
go ahead because wait,
Okay.
I'm about to tell you the end.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I had asked you a little bit earlier. What
Mhm.
was it? What was the final straw for you? What is it that made you decide, no, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. I'm
Well,
just gonna go.
I will say for the last 5 years of the relationship, I wanted to get out. I remember, hold up, let me go back, go back this way. I remember
Mm-hmm.
taking my kids. At that time, I only had three, and went all the way to the islands with them.
Mm-hmm.
And he called me after being down there for like 6 months, because I was going to make my kids get established and everything down there, and then come back up and then do what I need to do and then come and get them.
Mm-hmm.
And well, I led him to believe that I was just going to go visit, but I knew I was going to go stay like for a while and leave them there and then
Yeah.
come back. And after being there for like, I think 5, 6 months, he called one day. He said, just normal conversation. Hey, how are you doing? I was like, fine. Mind you, when we were there, he sent money. He made sure his kids were taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I'm ready for you guys to come back. And I was like, no, I'm not coming back to you. He said, I bought a house and I need you guys here. I need my kids in my house. So I was like, no. So, okay, that conversation ended like that. He called me back. I think it was a few days later. He said, I purchased you tickets. It's American Airlines.
Wow.
I purchased tickets for everyone. All you have to do on this date, go to the airport, get on a plane, and come back. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm happy here, you know. He told me, he said, well, my name is on the birth certificate. And you did not have permission from me for taking them kids. So I'm going to go to court and get custody. You know, my aunt is a judge.
Oh
And
yeah. Ooh.
And I did not want to lose the kids. So, girl, I got on that plane and I came back.
Oh wow. I remember you were telling me he had a few of his family members
Yeah.
who were lawyers or
Well
judges and
connected.
stuff.
Yeah.
So he used that to his advantage.
So that was one of the only times that I left. Now, push forward. I can't remember. I think my girls, the youngest girls were maybe 10 years old. I can't remember. And the boys were, one was 3 and the other one, I remember the boy's age. One was 3 and one was 11 months. So summer came, the kids went to go visit his family because no one else could watch his kids. It's either me, my mom,
Or his
or
family.
his family. And which I'm grateful for that too. Because even in growing up, my mom never let other people watch me. You know, she's very guarded in that way. So in that way, where no one could have watched his children, I didn't have a problem with that because I don't even see that's his children. Those are mine and they belong with me. So the kids went to go visit like every year. They went, the grandmother and the aunts had them for summers. They will come up. All I'll do is just make sure all their clothes was together. I end up, the hair was braided real good, and the grandmother will have them for like 2 weeks or so in the summer. Holiday time, they were with the grandma. But at that time, him and I was together. We spent every holiday with his family. But I was good on wearing a mask. They never knew or suspected anything, but they know of his prior abuse. They just thought, well, maybe he changed because she have never complained and she don't look bruised when we see her.
Yeah, you've never said anything to them.
I never said anything to anyone. So, I remember my youngest girl, Lola, when we will go out, when he get home, he'll call them together. He'll call them around and say, so where y'all been today? Where did mommy take you? Did she leave y'all with anyone? And they'll be like, no, but Lola had a way with him. And she's like, I'm tired of you asking me that. I think at that time she was like maybe like 5, 6 years old.
They don't keep nothing in.
Yeah, I'm tired of you asking me that. So I remember one day, clearly we had gone out. He came home, asked them where they'd been. And she was, as soon as he asked her, she said, I don't want to talk to you. But what I noticed is we were walking, right? Because I had 2 in strollers and the other 3 was walking.
We're walking, yeah.
And she was, the youngest one wasn't born as yet. And she will she said, I don't want to talk to you here. And what I noticed was like when we were walking, I was like, Lola, come on. I tell the older sister, hold Lola's hand. She was writing down each street.
Oh my God.
Because she was tired of him asking her these questions.
Oh, wow. So even she picked up. She just decided, let me give you all the information. I already know you're going to ask me these things.
And
let me write everything down.
Yeah, after that day, Lola put him in check. He stopped asking because she's like, every day, he'll come in and she'll say, okay, where mommy been today? What she did? She was just home. So that embarrassed him. So he stopped asking. And then
that made him pull back a little bit.
Yeah. Because his kids knew was on.
Noticing what was going on.
Yeah. So
Wow.
one of the summers, the kids went to go visit their grandma, normal visit. And on their way, I think like the last day there, the grandmother called me. No, the aunt called me. That aunt is an attorney. She called me and she told me, she said, the kids said something to me. She said, I'm letting you know that they told me because that's the only how we would have known. She said, but being an officer of the court, I am not losing my license to know that what's happening in the house. And my nieces and nephew are, you know, the uncomfortableness. They told him every time daddy come home, the house just feels so different. And they don't want
Mm.
to live with him anymore.
Wow.
They want for them to call me and for me to come to live with them.
Wow.
So the other aunt is a psychologist. She asked them appropriate question, and what I thought I was, they didn't know about any physical abuse, but the stuff that they heard when you think kids are off playing, they took notes and they told them what they knew.
Yeah.
And then the older one who know about the yelling and uh, maybe a physical, I don't know, told them whatever it is. And then the sister called and, well, it was a three-way with everybody. And they told me, we'll find you a place. I don't want you with my brother. My nieces and nephew need to grow up as children. And we'll find you a place and we will take care of you and the kids.
That was so nice. You know what? That is good. That is awesome that, she was able to detect some of the stuff that was going on by asking those, questions to find out what was going on. Because some people, they would have said, you know what, this is not my problem. Let me not get involved
Mm-hmm.
in family business and stuff. So they would have maybe not said anything. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
happy that, the children were able to say it to her and she cared enough, even though it was her own family,
Mm-hmm.
to
But
make sure that those children were safe and you too.
mhm.
Go
before
ahead.
that, before that, I wanted to leave, but I didn't know how because I was thinking we have a 5 bedroom house. You know, my kids, they have their own room. Like, I haven't worked in years. Where am I going to get money from, to take care of them, work and still, be there for them? I was like, how am I going to do that? I haven't done anything in years.
You're thinking of having to start over, and where would you start? Because
Yes.
no longer you weren't working because he was making sure that you relied on him.
And that years had passed
Right. And
that I was
you
not in the
stopped going to
workforce.
school
Yes.
because of
And
him.
and I remember going to the YMCA because I heard people talking about it. And I went to the YMCA and I used to go to domestic violence meeting and come back home.
Well, and he didn't know.
He did not know.
Well, okay. That is it. Oh, child. Let's take a break real quick. Let's take a break real quick. Um, Please go ahead and subscribe to Designs by V's channel. She also has a YouTube channel. If you look in the chat, you will see the moderators dropped it. And for those who are in the other on the other channel, you would have seen that I dropped that link also. I want persons to pay attention to some of the signs of domestic abuse. I'm just going to show up a very short clip and we'll look at the signs. That was our very quick break. Want to see them? You could pause or go on the
Another thing,
replay.
one of the things that made me start going to the meeting, right? I wanted to leave. Like I said, I didn't know how to, and I was trying to find out resources to go, and it was my secret. Nobody knew. That was
Mm,
before the kids told their family. One of the
Mm-hmm.
things were, I forget what the senseless every time argument was about, and I was the type of person, like, I would not escalate if I keep answering. And I remember one day, I think I just built up the nerve to just open up my mouth and said something. And I have a little souvenir right here, a nice little bite.
Oh no, the physical abuse.
And that's what made me started going to the when blood was drawn. That's what
Mm-hmm.
made me started going, because I'm like, I no longer wanted my kids to be a part of it.
Right. So so this physical abuse, how close to the time that his sister found out did this happen?
That was like, I'll say like 11, 12 years after the fact.
Oh no. Oh, so
Because
that's
remember,
how
I had went home, I think, for, I think, 6 months
six
out of
months you
it.
said, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow. That was a long time.
yeah.
That was that was a lot to deal with. V, you are a very strong person to deal with all of that. And I still say while raising children,
Hmm.
that was a lot to deal with.
Hmm.
So um
So his family, they called me and they said, "This is how we're giving you the option. We'll find you a place for you and the children. Start looking for one. We'll pay the bills. And if you choose not to do that, we'll take the children."
So that was forceful. Listen, if you don't do this. But you know what? How did you feel when they finally found out about what was going on?
I
And
felt like the
did
I felt like the kids betrayed me.
oh no, but they helped you though. They helped you
Oh no,
actually.
I mean, looking
I
back on it, you remember I told a story that I feel like they saved me, but in
yeah,
the midst of it, I
when you're
allowed
in the
shame,
situation,
I
right?
allowed shame and guilt, and what I thought I had covered so well,
Mm-hmm.
that they outed me.
Yeah.
And she told me, she was like, "No, you're not gonna spank them for that. We think you're a great mother. We think the children belong with you. But
Mm-hmm.
if you decide to stay with my brother, we're going to take them and we will get custody of them. You know that."
Yeah.
So, um, start looking for a place, and this is how it's going to happen. And immediately I found a place because I wanted my children.
Exactly. Yeah, and you made the right decision too.
Hmm.
Let me see. Melody Joy dropped down in the chat. Melody says this is a very interesting conversation. She is brave for telling her story. I believe she is.
Hmm.
And you know what? Her story ended up even more magical because she did end up getting somebody who was just the right partner for her. And I'm pretty sure she'll talk if she wants to talk
Hmm.
about that. Because even though she went through all of those different types of abuse, she found someone, eventually found someone who loved and respected her and made her
Hmm.
feel like the queen that she actually is. So, as much as you had to go endure all of that, you did
Hmm.
find the right person. Okay,
Hmm.
so we've spoken about all the different the flags, the forms of abuse, the how it affected your family. Now we're all the way down to when his family found out and they decided to help. How did he respond to his family when they found out?
He, well, he had no choice. He had no choice because he knew the power that they held.
Okay.
So after that, he's like, he interacted with his children, but not with me.
Did his family shun him?
I wouldn't say his behavior after the fact make them separate themselves from him.
Hmm.
Their whole thing was the children, because even, okay, after I left him, right, I got my place, living in my place. It was a small place, but we were together. That was the first thing that I could have find.
Mm-hmm.
We were just
You're
together.
just
And
happy to
it
be
was a
out
nice
and
place.
together, you know.
Yes, it was a nice place, but it was a small place. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that that was some of our best years too in that small place.
Yeah.
Because, well, anyway, put it like that. After his, I left, living in my place, I received complaints from DIFUS. That's why I mentioned a small place that,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't have all of those kids in that small place.
Yeah.
He called DIFUS on me. He
How did
he
he
went,
find out where you live? I'm not to cut you, but how did he find out? Because you still had to
oh, he
interact with him
knew.
because of the children.
Oh, he knew.
He
He
picked
he
them up,
yeah, but he knew where I was.
and he was
I
still
know
trying
that
to
his
make you
family,
uncomfortable.
well, he knew. I told you how his family is.
Mm-hmm.
Law enforcement,
Judges,
doctors, and lawyers.
lawyers,
He knew not to
doctors.
mess with them like that.
Mm-hmm.
And to mess with me, know that they know
Yeah.
he's messing with them.
Wow. So he called.
Yes. So he had no choice but to let me loose. He knew where I was, but never tried to do anything to me. So he figured the only way that he could hurt me was getting them from me because
Yeah.
he is the birth father, and he took me to court for custody.
Mm.
And upon taking me to court, um, his family from all over the country, they wrote letters to the judge saying why I should have the children and he shouldn't.
I remember you saying this. This I laughed so hard. I'm like, you thought you were gonna win, huh? Your
Yeah,
own family.
yes.
They came in full support. You know,
So
because
the judge will ask, through the evidence phase, the judge, and I didn't have an attorney. The judge will ask, who is Esquire such and such, Mr. whatever his name is, and he like my sister. Well, this is what she said in a letter.
ooh, so that one knocked him for six, like as we said, lick him for
Yes,
six in the courtroom, right?
yes. And
Wow.
who is Professor the Dean, such and such, my father? Well, this is
Mm.
what he said. And who is Dr. Such and such? Well, this is what she said. And as a psychologist and as a this, and who is Judge? Boom, boom, boom. This is what she said.
Wow. So they did all of that and they didn't even let him know they were gonna have those letters
Oh, they sent it
already.
directly. They asked me which judge, and they sent it directly to the court.
No, I was no, he didn't know.
Oh, no, 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 no.
So that just imagine the shock in the courtroom when the judge was calling these names and he realized that his family was in full support of you and the children to make sure that none
Did
of
not
you were
know.
experiencing any type of
Hmm.
um abuse
He did not
and
know they would have gone
stress.
that far. He know that
Yeah.
they paid for a place for me, but he didn't think they would have gone that far.
Yeah, kudos to the family for
Because,
supporting.
like I told you, I was shy and very quiet, and he didn't even think that I expressed anything to them because I didn't talk much.
Mhm. Yeah. And maybe because of how you were with him, he didn't expect that at all, that you
Yeah.
would have divulged certain type of information to them.
Mhm.
Okay, so what are some of the things that you did? Because this was all, I can imagine how much this was for you to experience, the constant stress, the constant fear of what he would do next. What were
Mhm.
some of the coping mechanisms that you decided to employ to make sure that you could deal with, the pain, the whole stress of domestic abuse
Well, what you
or his
know me,
controlling ways too?
mhm. What you know me for now, style and decor has always been a haven for me. Creativity. Another thing about me, I only know it now to be manifestation, but when I was doing it, I didn't know what it was. I will envision being in places that I'm not. Like, this is not it for me. I will eventually be here. Like, for instance, even this house that I'm in, that I didn't have the work history, I didn't have the and that's 7 years later. I didn't have the after leaving him. I didn't have the work history. I didn't have the credit because when you don't have established credit, it's just like having bad credit.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any of that, but I dreamt this house up down to the 2 kitchens.
Mm.
And I envisioned myself being in fabulosity. I envisioned myself traveling. Like even after meeting my husband and the first few months he met me, I met him August 31st. By February, he had me in Paris. That was a trip that I dreamt about. And I don't even know how he knew that.
Girl, your
It
dreams
was
came
nothing that
true.
I communicated to him because I just met him.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a dreamer. I could transport myself. That was my
Mm-hmm.
confidence in places, in fabulosity. Think about what I want. Think about where I want to see my children. I knew there was something better for me. I just didn't know. I just, I couldn't access it, but I dreamt. It wasn't a physical, but the
Mm-hmm.
mental, I made my mental very pretty.
Yeah.
Like my kids, that was one thing about me. My children had to look a certain way because even though that I did not feel good about myself, low self-esteem and the whole nine, and I was not dressing,
Mm-hmm.
my children had to look of what I envisioned in my head. So my girls had very long, pretty hair. That was one of my pride that I took care of. Imagine seeing little black chocolate girls with hair down to their butts
Mm-hmm.
and um, pretty skin. And I put my energy into my children and the way that they look because I could not, it's like I couldn't decorate
You
me.
couldn't do it for yourself, so you
So I
decided you're gonna make
decorated them
sure.
because
Right.
I knew that they were an extension of me, and I'm gonna make my extension look. I don't want to fight with him because I don't want to be asked where you been, who you been with. But he ain't gonna
Mm-hmm.
ask me that about them. So they were always put together.
Okay. I was okay, so go ahead and tell me some of the things that you did. You said you were a dreamer, some of the things. What are some of the other things that you did to cope? So you said you were thinking of,
I
better
was a
days to
dreamer.
come and stuff with
I
your
used to
dreaming.
tell. Well, my mom did not know what was happening. My siblings didn't know what was happening. But I was this person. I would just talk about this lifestyle that I'm gonna be
That you
living, girl,
wanted.
and it had nothing to do. Couldn't even see it, but I just felt it. And
Mm.
I used to tell my siblings that, right? And they would look at me, which my brother used to call me crazy. Two things he used to call me crazy, and he used to tell me some of the things that I will make. I will find things and make it look pretty. And he'll come and he'd be like, "Where you buy that from?" I said, "Oh, I make
How
it."
did you get that? Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, "Somebody threw it in the garbage," and he said, "They're gonna arrest you." And then my mom will come visit once a year, and I will tell my mom about this house that I'm gonna get, and the colleges that my kids are gonna go to. And even though she do believe they were smart kids, that they would have end up on their own merit going to college, and I am blessed that they came from a family like that, and they will steer in that direction. But I remember one day my mom telling me, she said, "I sent you up here to go to school. You ain't go to school. All you had was just a bunch of children. And you talking about this house you want." She said, "Well, you would do teeth it." But
Little did she know, you
I
spoke it
never
into
thought
being.
it was all in my head, girl. It was all in my
Yeah.
head. And I
Dreamed it
remember,
into being. It became
I,
a
I, rem-
reality.
I remember after we purchased this here, mind you, I didn't have the credit. I didn't have the nothing that it takes to get, no background. And that's why I tell people, if you will dream a dream, God could do you one better.
Good.
Because it went way beyond that I ever. It's like deja vu, and still, it's like that's
You're
one
trying to
of the process that I'm going through because I still can't believe how I get it
still
and
can't believe you got your dream home.
and who got it for me and with what you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I remember my mom came up the first year we got this house, and I have a balcony in the middle of the house. And
Mm-hmm.
it looked down on the first floor and the kitchen. And my mom was up on the, I felt like eyes looking at me, and I looked up. She said, "Here, girl, I used to think your ass was crazy." She said, "You dreamed up your life." She said,
She
"You're
said
well
you
past your
dreamed up
life."
your life,
Yeah,
girl.
she said, "You're well past your life." She said, "I used to think you'd have to rob somebody and get in their house, and they gonna have to arrest you and drag you out of it." She was like, "You did it."
It's the happy ending.
Yes. And the beautiful ending. And mind you, I would say, even all that I told you about my children's father
Mm-hmm.
today, I could say God has shown me within the first of leaving him, within the first few months, how to forgive him.
Girl, you're really good. You are.
God
I
has
don't know if you
shown me
did.
that.
Did you do it because of the children? Because you did say that
One
you
of
guys
it,
now have a good
one of
relationship.
it, one of it was my children. I remember one day I was just crying. I sent my kids to school and I was home just crying, just thinking nothing gonna happen for me. I actually wanted to go back to him. I was trying to figure out how we could work this out, and nobody knew because I didn't feel pretty. I felt like I was fat. This is the heaviest I've ever been in my life. All in my
And you
head,
think you
right? Yes. And I remember wanting to go back, and I'd call a friend of mine. She's from the islands. And I told her, I said, "This is how I'm feeling." I was just sobbing that early morning. My kids was gone. And she told me, she said, "You're going to look back on this and laugh." She said, "Life is going to get better. But let me take you backwards, right? With all of the positivity and me transporting myself into the beauty and all of that, I'm gonna tell you what else that I've gone through. Like I'll say, like about 2 to 3 months after leaving, my baby was 11 months at the time. That's why I didn't want to jump the story. I wanted to tell it just like it was. But sometimes, okay,
okay?
my baby was 11 months, and no, he didn't get custody. I got custody of the children. And the judge even offered for me to stay in the 5 bedroom home and
Mm.
he paid child support. I told the judge I don't want to do that because he know every inch of that house. And I
Oh,
don't want to die.
yeah.
But after that, after him taking me to court, he brought some girl that was his girlfriend, which and that didn't bother me because I was over. Yeah, you know.
That's how quickly he got a girl.
Yes, it was good
Wow.
for him. So, um,
Hey, Ken.
the I forget what I was going to tell you. That was very important too.
Yeah, the
Oh,
judge.
oh, this is what I was going to tell you.
Okay.
So, in the first few months of me leaving, after we went to court, did all of that, I went through a major depression, feeling like I wasn't worth anything, feeling like, you know, I would not like all the stuff that I've been envisioning. I had to be crazy for thinking the things that I was thinking because in all this time it has never happened, and in all of that dreaming, and now I'm alone with children, and I started talking to myself, telling myself, well, maybe you are crazy, like they said, like none of this will happen. And I remember going through like a real major depression that I thought how I was going to die. I remember giving my baby to a neighbor, a family friend neighbor. And I told her I'm going up to the house to get a few things. I'll be back. My intention was to take my life.
Oh my goodness. Joyce Goodwin dropped down just in time to say he tore you down. And that's one of the reasons that may have, made you feel this type of way? You were saying, "Oh, I'm here with all these children. I'm going through all of this. I don't, all these different emotions, all these different things happening to you that made you depressed to the point that you were thinking of going back to the person who was abusing you."
And going back was not an option because then the kids will know. My
Mm-hmm.
major secret was out. The family would know.
Mm-hmm.
By that time, my mom knew, my brothers, all of them knew what had happened, and I couldn't revert it. So I went into my thoughts of a downward spiral. My baby was 11 months at the time. Like I told you, I had the neighbor watched him. I
Mm-hmm.
thought how I was going to do it, and I was going to do it in the house so
Mm-mm.
he could find me. I wanted to
You
punish him
wanted
for
him.
what
You
he
wanted
done.
him to feel the pain that you were feeling, but I'm hoping that it's because of the children why you decided
Oh,
not to.
what you say?
You decided not to do it because you had your children
Well,
to
let
live
me tell you
for.
what happened, and that's why I believe in the Lord and the Holy Spirit. I went up to the house and I had the stuff in my hand, and it was just like you talking to me. A voice said to me, "No, you're not going to do this. Go flush this down. Go back and get your baby. The only thing that baby will know about you is like they brought the baby to my view. I knew I left my baby down the street, but somehow it was brought to my view. My fat little chubby, because girl, he was 11 pounds at birth. He was a little fat son. And told me, the voice told me, the only thing he will remember of you, he will remember nothing of you. The only thing he will know is what people
Is
told
what people
him.
tell him, right?
And you don't know what the story is going to be.
Yeah, you don't know how that would have affected his whole entire
You,
life.
I gave you these children for a reason. You need to raise these kids. And I was like, oh, why didn't I go through with it? Why did I flush it? Like, why did I listen? So I left, went back down, went to pick up my baby, and I just went in the bed, had the baby with me. Like I tell you, he was like a little chubby chubble, like a head full of hair and just a little chubster.
You
And
loved on
the
him.
more I cry, is the
Mm-hmm.
more he was teething at the time. Is the more that little sloppy boy kissed me. They slobbing and all of that. And
Mm-hmm.
he didn't know what was happening. But he just kept kissing me in my mouth, like my
If that
nose,
wasn't
my
a message
face.
to you,
Like,
girl.
and then eventually he had kissed me so much my face was wet, my tears turned to laughter. And then he was laughing too at 11 months. I was laughing and he just kept just mouthing me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a mess with all of this tears and mixed in with spit. And I ended up laughing and wiping my face. And it wasn't school give out at 2:45. It wasn't like 15, 20 minutes later. The bell rang and my other kids was at the door. And later on, it dawned on me how selfish that was. And I started thinking how selfish it was because the neighbor, the guilt that they would have lived with. My children would have come home to some horrible news that would have rocked their world, even today. And I had to pick myself up. I said, I can't do this. The Lord said He give me my kids for a reason, and He will not make us suffer. Because
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was asking God to just get me out of that, give me the strength to leave, provide for me to leave. And I told him, I said, God, please don't make us go hungry and, us homeless. And that's what he did. He provided.
Provided for you.
He put people in
Kept
the
you
way.
safe.
He
Kept you
put people
safe.
in the way. Um, like even up to today, let me tell you, always speak powerful things over your life. You're gonna slip every now and then, but always speak powerful things over your life. Even up to today, that I'm in a better situation. Like we just went up north. My daughter still meet up with her principal. God will cause people to pour into your life. He'll put the right people there. Just keep depending on him. And we never struggled. We never went homeless. I've always had, I mean, people used to come to my place and like, you live in the hood. Why your house look like this? You know,
Because you got the magic touch. You got
I
it
used
all
to
in
give
your
away
hands.
food. I used to give away food. You know what I'm saying? If I'm at the grocery store and I see a woman putting back milk, egg, cheese, and stuff like that, I'm like, that's a mother right there. I'm like, no, get the stuff. I'll pay for it. I've never went without. God
And you're
provided, like He told me.
you
He
blessed
told me,
others and they blessed you.
yes.
You know?
And okay, I went through that major depression, wanting to die, and a neighbor invited me to church. And I went with my kids that Sunday. And when I went, the topic of discussion, was a female pastor. And she said, God know I like beauty. And she was a little beauty feisty lady too. And I was like, I've never seen a woman preacher. But her sermon that Sunday was like, it's like she was looking at me, talking to me. She said, God said when He made you, He did a good thing. You don't need nobody to validate you. You already validated.
That ceremony was for you.
But I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna take you a little bit back, right? I had went to that same church before, and she had preached, and she preached along a line. Let me tell you how paranoid people could be. She preached along the line of women being abused, right? And I swear up and down, the neighbor told her my business. So I never
when
went back to that church.
when all it was just a message for you. And
Yes. And then I stopped going. And then, the same neighbor invited me again. I said, you know what? I'm going to give this thing one more chance. Got my children all prettied up, went to church. And no, that lady's talking to me again. I'm like, huh? But that one day resonated with me because I was suffering from low self-esteem, poor self-worth. Um, a lot of people will meet me and be like, they cannot believe that I had low self-esteem because they always go to, oh, you're so pretty, you everything you do is then fabulous. But like I shared with you the last time, my low self-esteem didn't start with him. It went
Mhm,
way back. I was not an abused child. I wasn't sexually abused. I wasn't none of that at home. But it
mhm.
started in school.
Yeah.
And that's what the Lord showed me when He showed me why I should forgive the kid's father. That I could move on and that I will see His blessings if I keep focusing on what He did. I'm not going to see. Like I told you, went to church, and the pastor she said, God said when He made you, He did a good thing. You don't need nobody to validate you. He don't have low self-esteem, so you shouldn't have it too. And she was just going on and on and on and on. She said, the Bible says, speak those things are not as though they are. She said, even if you don't feel pretty, write up all the things you want to do and feel about yourself and stick it all over your bathroom mirror because every morning you go to brush your teeth, you're going to see it.
Right.
And that's what I did. I started getting dressed. I started buying clothes. You remember I told you I didn't used to dress before?
Mhm.
People used to literally, where you going? Girl, I used to get up in the morning and just dress.
To feel good about yourself again.
Yes,
It's like you're a
because
new person.
you could transport yourself,
Right.
your mind, just like reading also. Reading could transport you. Read what you like. Envision stuff and go to pretty. Don't go low, go to pretty. Because there was some low times for me. But because I was a dreamer, I will always end up in the fabulosity. I will see myself in places where I didn't even have money to walk to. I didn't even know it
Tra-
exists.
traveling,
Yes,
doing
yes,
stuff that
a
you like
mental
doing.
thing. Yes.
Right.
And
Like you were.
let me share this here with you. The channel Designs by V. When I just came to this country, I saw HGTV, right? And I used to tell myself, I'm going to get a TV show.
Mm,
And
speak it, girl.
I will decorate my house and talk about it.
Mm.
I will build stuff because that's the DIY channel, HGTV. And so I had a show before I had a show, but I was talking to my furniture.
Right. Fast forward today.
Yes, I was
You're
talking to my
doing just
furniture.
that.
Where I wanted to be is where I transported myself. So I say that to say, wherever you are at the moment, because God is so amazing. If you trust him, people will call you crazy. You ain't come from money. And you'll be like, well, I wasn't raised with a silver spoon and I wasn't this and I wasn't that. That's what you tell yourself because God is your ultimate father. I'm no big set of Christian and Bible thumper or anything like that. But if in the Bible he said, if you have as much faith as a mustard seed and you tell the mountain move, okay, you can't tell what's a mountain name? What's a
Let's
big
do
mountain?
Kilimanjaro. Let's do
You
that.
can't tell Kilimanjaro to move. The
But it's the
mountain
faith,
is the issues
the
that are in your life,
challenges,
the
right?
challenges. That's your
Right.
mountain.
God has worked like intimately in individual ways, and he has given us our mixture of strengths and weaknesses, different circumstances like you went through, the challenges that you went through, but he also gives you success. You may have failed and stuff, but you're despite the challenges, success always comes at the end of the road. There are no
Just
coincidences.
keep dreaming. That's what I'll say to
Keep the faith.
anyone that is losing faith or you're in a situation. It could be a job. It doesn't have to be an abuse situation. If God will work this out for me, he'll do it for you too.
And always remember, because you did say this earlier on, that sometimes people are placed in your path. You know, God, he, well, I want to say, let me not say he, orchestrates the right people around you. So you may encounter people, you may not know why they're around you. They may say little things to you. Everything adds up at the end of the day. They are placed in your life for a reason.
Yeah.
You may
But
not see it right away,
mhm,
but they're there and they're strategically placed
mhm.
there.
But the other thing is even the people that I call friends, the
Mm-hmm.
reason why even like our friendship didn't last the test of time too, apart the ones that I let go, end up coming back and stuff like that, because I've always been a good person. I am the type of person that will bless you and don't think nothing about it.
I wanted to go ahead and then I'll ask you because I wanted to find out what those friends that he isolated you from. At no point in time did any of them try to come around to check to see what's going on. Why is it that we can't hear from you anymore? You know.
One of them, the same friend that I told you I'd call on the phone and telling her my life is over, I'm gonna be single, I'm gonna die. Da, 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 da.
Okay.
She never gave up. I remember she came by one day, it was close to the end, like before the kids had told. And she just knew because she knew me since I was like 16, and she just knew there was a change in me. She had just stopped by one day to just visit, and we were outside talking, and he pull up and he just lower his head like that, like, you could tell, why is she around here?
Wow.
And she was from Antigua, and
Mm.
he was like, where my kids? He put his head on the car, he's like, where my kids? I said, this one is sleeping, that one is doing this, and the oldest one is watching the other one. He said, I don't work that hard for you to be out here, doing what you're doing here right now. And girl, she flipped. She was like, you know what? I always knew something was up, but I was just waiting one day to get you. She said,
Mm.
today is the day. He looked at me, he said, go in the house. I was about to go. She said, if you go, I'm gonna
If
whoop your
you
ass.
ever move, I'll whoop your
She
ass
said, if
too.
you move, I'm whooping your ass. She said, no,
So
it's
we're
me and
both gonna
you
whip
now.
your ass.
And she went and I was like, Sheba, just let me go. She said, no, it stopped right here. You understand? I knew something like that was happening, but
Hmm.
with this right here, she said, I'm glad I got time for you today.
So she cussed him out.
Yes. And so it was getting late, and then she had to go get her children, and da, 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 da. And she checked up on me over the years. She said, if you ever wanted to get out of here, I got you. But
But how did he
no one
respond?
knew the extent of whatever.
So how did he react to that after she left? Because she could do so much and no more because she had to leave.
Yeah.
So did he take
Well,
his frustration out
he
on
blamed
you?
me. He blamed me. He said, "If see, that's why I tell you don't be friends with her. You don't act like that in the street. Look how she behaved. Um, she gonna make you look bad. Joe, that's why I tell you don't hang out with her."
Just to cover his insecurities. That's all he
Hmm.
was. Or to establish some form of control.
Mhm.
That was a lot. So we're gonna be wrapping up quickly. I don't know if you would like for anyone in the chat to come up. I
Mhm.
could drop the link
But
if you're comfortable with
let
it.
me finish. Let me finish saying this here. The other thing is, whenever I tell someone something that it may seem like it's something horrible, I like to put a positive spin on it. Like I told you, I have totally, within months, the Lord has shown me how to forgive him. One, the Lord told me in order for me to raise my children, especially the boys, I needed to release them. I couldn't carry him. And where he was taking me, there was no space for him. So I needed to release them. I would say a few years later, I dated. And then, like a few years later, I had a dream. I was sitting at a park bench and I was talking to this man in my dream, but it was my shy self. My head was down and he was speaking to me. And each time he spoke a word into me or to me, it's like imagine being encased with bricks or ice. And each word he spoke, some piece fell
Chip
off.
was chipping away at the ice.
Yes. And in the dream, the man said, where have you been all my life? I needed a woman like you.
That was your husband.
And I lift my head up in the dream. All I knew at the time, the man was wearing a black and white suit, and
Mm.
and he was Caucasian. And
Girl.
my head was down. I saw the suit because in talking to him, but I did not see the man. As soon as he said that, I lift my head up in the to lift my head up in the dream, and I woke out of the dream. I was so mad. So my friend, we were on our way to Hoboken, New Jersey, getting on the light rail, and I told her about the dream. She said, write it down. She said, write the vision and write it clear. She said, I think God is about to send your soulmate to you. He about to do something for you. And I believed it because I knew it was time. It felt like it was time. But, I'm traveling. I went to Canada, came back. I had just joined this website. When I was going to Canada, I had no, Verizon wasn't working over there. So I think I went for like 10 days. Out of 5 or 10 days, I had no reception. And when I came back, I had a flood of messages. I respond to all of them. This one man said to me, I will be in your area, boom, 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 this Friday. Do you mind meeting up? I said, oh, yeah, I can meet up. So the Friday came, told you I have 5 kids. One of my children wasn't home because she done after school programs. And I messaged him and I said, listen, I wouldn't be able to come because one of my kids is not home. He said, you know what? I'll wait. Half an hour passed. I told him wants to go. He said, no, I'll wait. An hour and a half. I showed up later. He greeted me well. And the restaurant he took me to, actually that night they were filming a television show at that restaurant. And we had a good time. He even said to me, and that was real strange. He even said to me, order a few dishes for the children. It's a nice high-end restaurant. He said, order a few dishes for the children. I was like, no, because no one had ever said that to me. Inquire about my kids. And in my head, I said, because they black, you think they hungry? So I was like, no. So he was like, well, kids like this, kids like that. And he just ordered these stuff and I took it over to the kids. So I put his number in my phone because I wasn't feeling no vibe. You meet somebody, you will feel like butterflies. That's what you think. And I left and went home and I put his number in my phone as do not answer. I don't even think I remember his name. And put in there, do not answer. Well, what happened the night at the restaurant? I was wearing this really colorful dress that I made. And the actors in that restaurant, actually, it was Love and Hip Hop. They were filming at the restaurant.
Mhm.
Chrissy and Emily asked me, I still have the pictures with them, asked me about the dress that I was wearing. I was so shy that I didn't tell them I made the dress. But earlier he asked me about the dress and I told him I made it. So after they were gone and I was embarrassed, I'm like, this old thing, I paid like a couple cents for the fabric. What this like celebrities? What they asking me about my stuff? They asked me for Instagram. I didn't even have no Instagram. And he said, why didn't you tell them? And my excuse was, well, I needed a mannequin to make more intricate details, and I've been looking for one. That was a lie. I just made that up. So the next day, the date ended. We went our way, put his number in my phone as do not answer. I was on my phone talking to somebody. Do not answer called. And I was like, I ain't talking to him. So I'm on the phone. My phone answered itself. My phone went to the other line. I guess my face bumped it. And I was like, hello, hello. I was like, oh, okay. Like, trying to play it off like I did answer the phone. And he said, I located a mannequin for you and you can meet me, no strings attached. I just want to see you realize your dreams because I believe you do beautiful work. He said, there will never be another opportunity somebody stop you again and you don't have, you said a mannequin that is stopping you about it. I said, sir, I don't even know you. I cannot take this gift from you. It's just too much. Like, because I knew the mannequin cost a lot. And he was like, it's no problem. I just want to see you realize your dream. He said, it's a gift. He said, please take it. And I said, no. And then eventually he said, well, I'm going to have to throw it away. And I hate to throw the money away. So I was like, okay, I'll meet up with you. Went out. We ended up grabbing a bite to eat. Gave me the mannequin, put me in a taxi set to send me home. Now I start feeling, oh Lord, this man just went and he bought this thing for me. And, I'm not a user. So he had text me and then he called me another time, like within the same week. Like it was the following week because we were met up the Friday the following week. And I was like, I'm not a user. I don't want to, be taking stuff. So the least I could do is just go hang up with him. I'm not going to even eat. So we went out. I ended up eating.
You're trying to shoo away your blessing, but I'm telling you, like I said before this, God puts people in different places strategically for you.
Yeah. So the third or the fourth time we went out, we were in New Jersey, right by the water, by the Hudson River in Newport area, talking. And he looked at me, and I had looked at him like eye to eye, because I'm like, I don't even know why I'm here. That's what I said to myself in my head. And he's like, you're the nicest person I know. Like, where have you been? I'm surprised you still single. Where have you been all my life? And I looked at him like that. And I was like, he is looking for what I'm not willing to give because I already make an oath to myself that I know what sex felt like, but I've never had the love that I desire. I've never had it in my life. So I'm not sleeping with no one until I get married. So after he said that to me, I thought that's what he was looking for. So on my way home, I called my friend. I said, girl, I ain't going over this man no more. I'm sorry. Yeah, he bought me the thing. I'm going to just maybe give him back the money or something like that. So she said, what happened? So I told her, I said, girl, he had the nerve to talk about, where have you been all my life? I said, that's the most corniest thing. She said, that's the man. And I'm like, what you mean? She started screaming on the phone. Like, that's the man. I was like, girl, what you talking about? She said, go home. I told you to write it down in your pink notebook.
Yes.
She said, go. And as I went and I opened it up, I started
that vision that you had and you had written it down.
I started remembering
that's the
dream.
same person who came in your life.
And it started feeling real to me. So about 2 nights later, he had invited me out. She told me, don't leave that. She said, if you leave him alone, you're going to have a hard time. She said, because that's who God has for you. And I did not believe her because it's like, I'm not even attracted to this man. So what's she talking about? So um he had invited me out. I went out with him because I was still on the grill trip of the mannequin. So on our way back, he's an attorney. He needed to have breakfast for the morning. So he said, let's stop in the supermarket. So
Stop
I
there.
said,
Hence the black and white. Remember, she was saying that in her
yes,
vision, she saw the
the
person
black
in a
and white.
black and white
Yes.
attire. That's why I
So
was laughing when she said it. Go ahead.
I'm in the supermarket, right? And he's like, no, I didn't want to get out of the car because I'm like, "Ugh, I just want to go home, like, all of that pleasantries." So I was like, I'll just sit in the car. He said, no, just come in. So when I went in the supermarket, he pulled a buggy, and I'm like, oh Lord, I just hope he getting a few things. He pulled another one, and he said, here. I said, I'm not pushing your buggy. He said, no. He said, I'm going to get my stuff, and you're going to get some stuff for the children.
That's how it is. You're finally getting treated by someone who knows
I
how to
was
treat a
like, my
woman.
kids don't want nothing. I
And
said,
you're there
I
fighting
got a
back.
lot of groceries in my house. But I didn't end up getting the groceries because I kept a lot of groceries. Like my kids was properly taken care of. So I told him, I said, no, no, thank you. He kind of got offended, but I wasn't trying to add anything more on that mannequin debt. So I just wanted to be done with that. So my friend, while he went to pick up whatever, took the other area, and I called her and I'm telling her what happened. She said, humor me. She said, I need you to find that suit. How we gonna find that suit to make you a believer that that's the man? So when we got to his place, I was like, I'm gonna sit in the car because I've never been there before. But I built up the nerve, and I'm like, well, he's an attorney. I don't think he's gonna be stupid and try to do anything to me. Let me hold my keys in my hand if I go up there. I'm thinking that, right? So we walked upstairs, and he put in his food in the freezer. I just got bold. I said, can I go in your closet? And he said, sure. I went in his closet, and my eye landed on that pinstripe suit that I've seen in my dream. And still, I wasn't feeling nothing for him. I ain't feel no butterflies. I'm like, well, maybe, yeah, God sent him. But I remember my oldest, I had called her, and I told her, I said, girl, there's this man, and he's just so nice, but I don't like him like that. And she said, Mommy, how is his heart? And I said, she was away in college. And I was like, she said, how was his heart? I said, I can't see his heart. What are you asking me that? She said, Mommy, you know what? Everything you told me about that man was nice. She said, if he came hitting you upside the head, you'd have recognized him. And I was like, and she hung up the phone. I was like, who the heck she thinks she is? If she was there, I'd have snatched her. But anyway, make a long story short, I started giving him a chance. And I met him, I say August 31st of that year. Still not feeling anything for him. He used to tell me he loved me, and he used to say, I like you a lot. He told me that doesn't bother him that I say that
He
because
was patient with you.
because he loves me.
Mm-hmm.
And he decided to take himself off the website. I didn't, but he still treated me well. And it was, I think, I started feeling different about him. I started giving him a chance, maybe around, I would say, coming to like, I think it was December. My kids, it was Christmas. And my kids, and mind you, I'm telling you the story. My kids are right there, they're hearing this. So, they know the story too. How things had happened for me that year. And I didn't want to ask the aunt and them because they have been taking care of these kids. So I told my kids, I said, I'm not going to buy y'all a Christmas present for Christmas. I'm a cook. I'm going to do everything I have to do. And in January, that's when I'm going to buy y'all stuff. Stuff will be cheaper and this, that. Because my kids, they like big ticket items. So he had asked me, my kids were satisfied with it because my children, they were pleased. So he asked me, he said, and he is not Christian. He asked me, don't believe in Christmas. He asked me, did I get my kids Christmas stuff? I said, no, I'm getting it in January. He said, what they want? He said, well, you can't give Christmas gift on Christmas. He's Jewish. He said, you have to give Christmas gift on Christmas. So he was like, what they want. And I was like, no, I can't tell you that. So then eventually, like every day, he will ask me the same thing. Finally, I'm like, I did not know any man that was generous like him. And even when I tell him I didn't think he would do it, he was like, just humor me. Tell me what they want. Melissa, she's right there. Hey, Melissa. Hey. Melissa's right there. Melissa wanted an iPad. And she wanted it engraved. You want to see Melissa? She's coming.
Hey, Melissa. Nice to meet you.
Remember I tell you that they have
about the long hair?
Wait. Come this way. They have very long
that's
hair.
some very nice thick hair.
Look.
Ooh. Well, what were you using to take care of? Because you tell me you used to dress her hair up and stuff. What?
Girl,
let me hear the oil.
I had in my house, if I had baby lotion, if I had
Dawn Dish Liquid.
I washed their hair. Dawn Dish Liquid.
Oh no.
Yeah. Once a month, I wash the hair in Dawn Dish Liquid to strip the soap and then to strip the oils. And then I reintroduce like olive oil. I mix up like a whole bunch, like different type of oil, whatever I have.
Right.
That's what
over here petting me.
She's been petting that hair for years, girl.
Yeah.
Years.
And let me tell you, when she was younger, imagine this little body. And the hair all the way down to her waist. People used to come up to her speaking Spanish because they're like, what are you mixed with? And she's like, black and black.
The funniest thing is, they'll ask me where am I from. I was just like, America. They're like, where are your parents from? And I'd be like, well, my dad's from America too. And they were just like, your mom? I was like, she's from Grenada. No, I'm like, she's from Grenada. So they go, oh, that must be it. I was like, also black. So black.
It's not black anymore.
And this
black
year,
is black.
I had put was 5 years ago. I put a texturizer in her hair, and she had to cut it all the way up here, all the way to her ear. So this is 5 years worth of growth.
Oh wow. Texturizer doesn't work for everyone.
And the thing is not manipulating black hair.
It allows it to grow.
On the regular, she has her hair in twists. When we went up to New Jersey, she got her hair in order to get the ends trimmed, because she haven't trimmed her ends in 5 years. In order to get it trimmed, they had to blow it out in order to
straighten it first, right? But she has a really nice head of hair.
Yeah, and in the middle of her back. Both girls do.
So I just came back from a self-defense course. I got to
she wanted to buy a pow.
I got girl. And if I could encourage your audience on anything, get out here, learn how to shoot, and get your gun license. Because the way everything's going nowadays, if you don't go get it now, you might not ever get it.
Okay, get away.
You're gonna need it. That's good advice, girl. That's good advice.
So, girl, I don't know where I put it. I don't know where I put it. Find another one.
That's more. Oh, they're here.
Oh, okay. So this one right here, she wanted an iPad. The other one wanted some folding computer. My boys, they wanted some type of game system. And my oldest, she wanted $700.
Ooh,
he was invited to Christmas. And that was his first time meeting them. And my daughter Lola said to him, she said, my mom have never brought anyone around us. What is your intention with my mom? And he looked at me and he said, can I answer? And I told him yes. He said, he reached his hand in his pocket and he said, my intention is to marry your mom. So I brought a promise ring with your blessing. Can I put it on my finger? I ain't tell him I love him. He didn't even know what the stuff looked like, because I said, I ain't doing that until I get married.
Lola was always the one who was forthright. She just didn't keep anything in, did she?
Yeah.
Just as you said, how she spoke to her father. She's right there, and she just.
And that happened. He came there and gave, like Santa Claus. He gave everybody what they wanted. I had an envelope. I ain't gonna say what was it, but I'm just telling you the story. The ring, it was a diamond, a 2-piece diamond ring. Was a promise ring. I've never told him that I loved him, because I didn't believe in lying and none of that, right? So That happened in December. January, he said to me, I know what I'm getting you for your I know what I'm getting for your birthday. And I was like, you got to stop buying me stuff. Like, because I still didn't see anything like the butterfly, the sparks, none of that was going. And I was like, what? He said, I'm taking you to Paris. I was like, no, you're not.
That
He
same
said,
Paris
yes.
that you envisioned, you know,
He
you
said,
had that whole
he said,
vision.
I bought tickets for you and I. We have separate rooms and we're going to Paris. You're going to wake up in Paris for your birthday. We're leaving the 30th of January. I was like, I cannot take this. That's a lot of money. He said, you're worth it. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to get away from this man because he just keep doing stuff. So the night, so I slept the whole day, right? I'm a sleeper. I just slept the whole day. I just said, I'm just happy just waking up in Paris for my birthday. Like, he said, you got to get out and see the place. He said, it's nighttime. Let's just go see the Eiffel Tower. We went right on the Eiffel Tower. They have a restaurant sitting right on the water. We had dinner there. I remember what we had. So, girl, I'm just so amazed. I'm by the Eiffel Tower. I'm looking up, taking pictures of this massive statue, right? And I heard people clapping. So I finished taking my pictures and I looked down and he's on his knees. So I took off running because we don't know each other like that. What are you doing that for? So I took
Girl.
off running. And he was like, silly. He said, silly, come back.
Oh
And
no.
eventually we
With
came
all those
back and
people,
huh?
with all those people looking and you were running
I was
away.
embarrassed.
Oh
I was embarrassed because we didn't know each other like that for him to ask me to marry him.
no. That man knew he loved you, but you just didn't figure it out yet. You just didn't realize yet that you loved him too.
He told me I'm come back to he knew he loved me, and I'm gonna tell you what he told me. So that happened, and I was like, we got in a taxi, and I was like, please don't ever do that again. He said, no, I wouldn't do that again. But he was a jokester, right? He said, no, he wouldn't do that again. So
He's
the
gonna
next
come with
day,
another way.
yes, the next day we went to the Louvre. Earlier in the day was my birthday. We went to the Louvre. That's that's a museum. That's where the Mary Antoinette is. We went to the Louvre, and then from the Louvre we got back, and I was getting dressed for dinner. I'm gonna have some dinner now. It was my birthday, so that's February 3rd. So I'm in my shower, and there was like a knock at the door. So I was like, who is it? It was him. He came in. I still have a picture and a video of it with my audio. It's still in my phone, in my archives. He said, he laid out a red dress for me, shoes, Stuart Weitzman shoes. And if you know anything about Stuart Weitzman, they cost. Stuart Weitzman shoes, pocketbook, the whole nine. He said, here's your outfit. A car is going to pick you up and bring you where I am. Guess he had to go set something up. So I was like, no, I don't speak the language because he speak Hebrew and he speak French and stuff like this. So I was like, no, you can't go. He was like, you'll be okay. He said the driver know what to do. So I came downstairs, got dressed, did my makeup, came downstairs, and the driver was there, and he did speak English, took me to the restaurant. The restaurant, I can't say the word, but it's on this famous street in Paris where the Louis the 15th hotel is, where some of a lot of the designer stores is lined the street, is the fashion area. So that's where he took me to dinner. So we sitting there, we just having, I got there, went into the special room, and him and I did talking and, laughing and stuff and talking about the day before, and he laughing at how silly I was for running and stuff like that. And I ate my dinner, and then the waiter brought in my dessert and they sang me happy birthday. So I'm trying to cut my cake, right? Trying to cut my cake. And I'm like, Paris is known for good chocolate. Like, it's like a chocolate with like a coating on it. And I'm trying to cut it and it wouldn't cut. And I'm like, Paris is known for good chocolate. Like, ugh, like, why isn't this cutting?
What is this?
Yeah.
Right.
And he started laughing and he said, silly, it's a box. And he kneeled down.
Again.
Because he told me he wouldn't do the Eiffel Tower again. He didn't lie.
Yeah.
He kneeled down and he said, and he went into his whole speech. I'm the nicest woman he knows, that he wants to marry me. Yeah, about me being the nicest woman he knows. And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
And he told
Then.
me how much he loved me and he wants to marry me. Got down on it. Well, he was down there already. And I told him, I looked at him like this and I said, anytime I got married, I wanted to be in love, and I'm not in love. I'm sorry, I cannot accept it. And he told me, you're the nicest woman I know. However long it take you, I'll wait.
And that he did.
And eventually I start seeing his ways. God starts, well, I mean, I've been like, he always was laying it out. But I start now, as my daughter said, look at his heart. My daughter was going off to school. She was going out to DC to do a program. She went to George Washington University, but she didn't get accepted yet. She was just going out there to do like, whatever. And I was like, oh my God, how am I going to get there? He had court because he was an attorney, I told you. He had court. And I told him, I said, oh, I don't know how I'm going to get there. And he was like, he had an important case. He said, you know what? I would not get this opportunity again. He called one of the case, he gave it away to one of a colleague. That case would have been the next day. They had time to, read up on it. And the other case, he called the judge and he told him he had an emergency. And he went to DC with me for 2 days. And then eventually, the first time he came into the neighborhood was Christmas. And when he came, he told me, he said, you cannot raise these kids right here. He said, I think later on that week, he told me he had 5 places that he had visited. One he haven't visited was Tennessee, was Chattanooga. But 4 other places that he visited and he liked: Savannah, San Francisco, someplace in Florida, I forget that one, but it was 5 different places. And he said that, I want us to go there, and whichever one you like, we will choose there as a home. Mind you, he's a 20-year lawyer in New Jersey, and he is willing to just pick up everything.
He was willing to relocate for you.
Yeah.
And that's why I told you, he knew he loved you.
Yeah. So we did. So we came here, and I will tell you, a few, not even a month knowing him, he loved my fashion sense. And he said to me,
and was ready to invest in you.
He gave me his credit card and he told me, he said, I want to mirror you. He said, the way you dress is so vibrant. He said, I wear the lawyer's outfit, just black and blue or, gray. He said, I love the way you dress. I love how you coordinate colors. Only knowing me for a month, he gave me his credit card and he said, the only thing not to buy for me is pink. So I went shopping for him, and I didn't buy pink with his money. I bought pink with my money in case he didn't like it. So we came to Tennessee, Chattanooga. We stayed downtown, and on the 4th day, looking at the place, seeing where we would like to. Because when I came here, we came in the night, and the next day we came out, and I told him this is the place. I didn't go any of the other places. I liked here as soon as I seen it. It reminded me of Grenada, downtown Chattanooga, the greenery, all of that, the water, that looking up my house, you could see the water. That's what it reminded me of. And I chose here. And he said, okay, so Chattanooga it is. So on the 4th day, we came here, I think, for 5 or 6 days. And I told him only walk with 4 days worth of shirt, because I knew pink would have looked nice on him. And he told me, don't buy him pink. So I didn't buy him pink with his money. I play the games he played with me, So I bought him a pink shirt with paisley with a white collar and white cufflinks because he wore a lot of cufflinks. So um the fourth day he was in the shower and I ironed his stuff. Mind you, he still don't know what none of this looked like because I say I ain't doing that. So we he finished showering, already ironed his shirt to put it on, and he was like, "Pink, no." I said, "Try it out." And he trusted my judgment from the time he hit the elevator door. And people was like, "Wow, it's a pink and a slate gray suit he had on, but it was with this pink shirt and a pink paisley tie." And it was like, "Wow, girl." His chest got so big when he got the compliment. His chest got so big. And it's just been us. Like I said, we moved, came here. I did not want to get married as yet. I was like, oh, I just want to enjoy my engagement, being foolish. I went to my country and I came back. And he picked me up from the airport. He said, I've gotten 4 marriage license. And this is the 5th one. I will never ask you again. He said, you know how my family are. They don't care for you. If anything happened, they will make your life a living hell.
Oh,
I want to secure you. I want to make
wow.
sure for the caring and the love that you have shown me that you will be taken
Wow.
care for the rest of your life. And you don't have to fight nobody for nothing.
If he should go, look at that. He was always thinking about your future. He was thinking about your present. He was trying to invest into, wanted you to realize your potential, your
Yeah,
creativity, because you were, putting yourself down when it
yeah,
came to your fashion and stuff that you could do. And he wanted to invest in your business. He showed the type of love that
yeah.
you were supposed to get, that you
Hmm.
weren't getting from your previous
And
partner.
he, like I said, he give up his practice because unless you have by, like coastal, um, you have to sit the bar again. He went and he did everything he had to do to move here to set up another law firm
Wow. And he was willing to
and
move
to do
wherever.
all of that.
That it's such right, Linda. Right, girl. It's
Yeah.
such a beautiful story. Linda,
And
you're about to make look at Linda. Linda says she's gonna cry. No, Linda. Isn't it a beautiful story? You were in the beginning, you would have cried because of the bad stuff you were hearing, and we're moving to the beautiful parts of it right now.
and that all that happened, and this man moved here, and he didn't. The father has said to me that, well, if he's going to move, which he haven't paid child support, but he said, well, if he's going to move, no, I'm not going to let him move. He said, and my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, he said, I don't need nothing from him. I
So
got
you
this
mean to
man.
tell me he was not paying child support the whole time because you had moved on?
And didn't want them to move.
Wow.
And he was like, you could take him off of everything. I will take care of them. I'll take care of you guys. And let me tell
Wow.
you something. Let me tell you how God is good. I was on Section 8 when I met him, right? And I was like, I was so excited. We're doing things, going all over the world, traveling. Every week I'm somewhere else. Like, it's just a whirlwind, right? And then I came here and it just dawned on me, you give up your place and you move with this man. Oh, let me tell you what happened. After the kid's father called DIFUS on me, after DIFUS went to my children's school, they went to the doctor. They do their whole investigation, right? And then before they got to my house, they got the kids to question them, what I do to them because of what was told to them. DIFUS gave me Section 8. They said, well, it was a story where my son told them, well, they asked the kids if I was beat them, right? So the kids told them yes. But I told them, I was like, that's the time y'all should say, y'all shouldn't tell them that because I thought I was going to go to jail. And my daughter was like, well, Mommy, you told us to tell the truth always. But I said, well, then you didn't tell it to this stranger. So I'm thinking I'm in trouble, right? So because they was asking me and I told them, sometimes the family helps me and stuff like that, with the bills and stuff. And my son, after the lady was leaving, after she done did all her questioning, my son said, He said, you didn't ask me what happens when you're not here. And he was about maybe 4 years old. And he told her, he said, Mommy, he said, Mommy does beat me. And I had to run all over the place. I said, Mommy, stop, you're hurting me.
Oh Lord.
I was like, I'm definitely going to jail now. So the lady laughed because she knew that he was making it up. So the kids was like, Mommy, the other kids was like, Mommy never hits him. Yeah, she hit us, but she never hit him. Like, he's lying. So, well, the lady didn't believe him. She know that he was dramatizing the whole thing. And when they went to doctor, me and the doctors were friends, the pediatrician, because she always admired how I took care of my kids. So everybody down to the school, everybody had a good word about me. So she called me a few weeks later and she told me that they're gonna give me Section 8 because she have never seen, even with all that I've gone through, she have never seen the care and the love or even how my home looks. She said, I want to make sure the children, they're so sweet, continue being like that. And the word that
Right.
everybody gave about you,
Mm-hmm.
we want to make sure that you continue doing right by the kids. And
Right.
I went back to tell you the story how I got the Section 8. But after moving here 2 weeks later, right, I'm like, oh my God, it dawned on me. I just left everything that I know, including everybody. And I just moved to this strange place with this strange man. And suppose he like dumped me and my kids, like, what we gonna do? And we were on our way to go to the title office to buy land. Mind you, I was in Section 8.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I have my Section 8 papers in my pocket, in my bag. And I'm like laughing because I'm like, this got to be a joke because just like a few months ago, I'm like on Section 8 and no, I'm going to buy land. And I'm like, that got to be a joke. That cannot be real. And then we went, I signed my name on it, come back home. And I'm like, it's like it doesn't seem real. And he came in and I was like, I was just sitting there like thinking, girl, this is not gonna happen.
Not
You think it's
you're
gonna
wondering,
happen.
is
Like
this real?
that's a fairy tale. This is not gonna
Right.
happen. And then he said to me, he said, I want you to release your Section 8, like go to the office. He said, I'm gonna take you there tomorrow. He said, that's for somebody else. Somebody else needed it.
Somebody else needed it, you didn't.
Yeah, when you needed it, you got it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm here now. Leave it for
Wow.
somebody else. Somebody else needed it. And girl, with my cold hands, I was like, Lord, suppose it is, suppose he changed, suppose he did.
Mm-hmm.
But guys, I'm gonna share something with you guys. Carrie knows. Carrie knows. Deanna knows. No?
No.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
so
anyway, my story ended up being beautiful. God gave me double for any trouble that
for
I've
all
gone
of
through.
your past
And there's
fears.
no stain. There's no stain on me for that. I encourage a relationship with my children and their father. I could pray for him. I could break bread with him. He doesn't.
You still encourage them to, throughout all of this,
Oh,
you
yeah.
still encourage
Oh,
them
yeah.
to make sure they,
Like
they
we went up
communicated
north.
with him.
We went up north and I told him, make sure you go visit your dad. Because he gave me my best gifts, one of my best gifts. And my best gift saved me eventually.
Right.
So,
and that was a beautiful story about that
who am I
day and
mad
what your
at?
son did for you.
Yeah.
So your past fears, your struggles, all of that, it doesn't matter anymore because in the end you found real love, you found security, somebody who was honest with you, transparent with you, understood how vulnerable you were and was still willing to be patient with you. So that was a really good thing. So while your story may have been sad in the beginning, nope, you ended up finding somebody who understood that love was not
there's
supposed to hurt.
There's some pieces that I left out. When I share my story, people cry or they'll tell me, like my daughter told me, she said, Mommy, you got to write a book. She said, there's people that have fictitious life. You had a pretty woman story.
You should probably start writing, whenever things come to you, your memory and stuff, just jot them down, make your points. We're going to wrap this up.
Well, let me just say this. Let me say, and another thing, it's never good to render evil for evil. Because
Mhm.
even, you remember I said that he said that I told you his family didn't care for me, like why in Israel?
Yes.
Even his mother that did not care for me, she lived in Israel. She was able to fall in love with me. Even she had said some nasty things in the beginning. As she had more stepdaughters because all his brothers has wife. They all are attorneys also. But she had one daughter. After she got to know me, seeing who I am, she passed 3 years now, 3 or 4 years now. Well, she invited us to Israel and she gave me all her heirloom jewelries.
Wow. Isn't that something?
Looked at me and she said, I give my daughter what I want her to have, but I know you will take care of these.
She knew you would appreciate them more. And it's so sad. And even with knowing that his family would not approve of you or like you,
Oh, he gave up everything.
he didn't allow that to stop him from,
He had two
being with
children.
you.
He had two children that he said this time in his life, because he educated them, they don't have a bill to pay for college or anything up. He set them up lovely. And he told them, even when the daughter called him once and she said, well, in case something happened to you, he said, I give you everything to be successful. Everything I have is for my life.
Wow. He set them up for success, and he set you up to make sure that anything that should happen, you will always be okay, and you wouldn't have to be fighting over anything with his family or anything. So that is really good. I want you to end this discussion by telling the viewers who are here, what are some of the things that you would advise them to avoid, or oh, okay, hold on. I want you to share with the viewers some of the traps you've seen and some of the traps you think that they should look out for. Give them some bit of advice as to what they should do if they get into a position like this.
Well, first of all, in getting with someone, if they're not increasing you, they're decreasing you. If they're taken away, I mean, there's certain things we will give up in our life, and then there's some people that come and they give you good advice. Well, they will point out a friend to you or somebody that's not good in your life. But when it's done out of control, when you start feeling less than, when if you could stand outside yourself and look and you don't even recognize yourself, the isolation, that's a red flag. Whenever anyone tell you, and as women, we have a bad habit of when a man tell us something about another woman, we take it as law. Just like when I met him and he had told me what he did to his ex, that should have been a red flag. Even that he had given up his scholarship to, it was crushing that he had to do that and go into the military. But he still could have looked on the bright side, even though, he got his blood test, found out that was not his child. He still didn't have to do what he do to her. If abusing is not in you, you're not going to abuse. And
Mm-hmm.
he could have still, it didn't have to be where he lost. It could have been, he could have used the
As
military
another
as
opportunity.
another opportunity to build a career, because my husband is also a 20-year veteran. My husband was a commander also in the military.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And he could have used it as a career. And it's true that he was suffering with some of his own stuff, own demons,
Demons, right? He had
but
his own demons that he was fighting.
you are not the person that's going to help that person fix, because fix themselves, because like I told you, the more I tried to do stuff to make it better, it seemed like the worse it came back to me. And like when people tell you who they are,
Believe them.
believe them. And within the first 6 months of me knowing him, he had told me the story. And the
Mm-hmm.
second time he told me the story, it was when I was pregnant with my daughter.
So he was pretty much reminding you of what he's capable of doing. So, like V said, do not do not at any time pretend that you don't see those red flags. If they're there, don't pretend that they're not there.
The other thing, if you find yourself in a situation like that, do not blame yourself. I remember saying to him once, it was a story that I left out, but I know we have passed our time. When I forgave him, this is what I said to him. I forgive you for everything, but I take no responsibility for anything that you have done to me.
Could you repeat that one?
I forgive you for everything, but I take no responsibility for anything that you have done to me.
All right, that was all on him.
And don't home it. Don't think that well, it's because I said this, because I said that. No,
you made that decision.
You did not cause anything to happen.
Right.
And another thing that had me in a position that I thought, I was so this, I'm so that, I'm so fat, and I've never been fat. I felt like nobody would want me. Like after my children grow up, I'm gonna just get old and I'm gonna die, stuff like that. And there's life after all of that. And if you hold on to something, it's like the same thing, the analogy. If you hold on to that bad stuff, nothing could come in and nothing could go out. You won't just stay in that hot mess.
Right.
God showed me how to release it and to give me new life. And I could tell you today, I could pray for him. And I'm in a beautiful space. Beautiful place.
And I know you may not want to say it, and you're also in a better position than he is today.
More than my dream that I told you guys, but it's way more than my dream. That sometimes I literally have to like pinch myself, and it's like I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I've traveled to Israel. I've been actually, that trip to Paris landed me in Amsterdam. We were in Europe for like 10 days. Like I've been like all over.
That's
and
a beautiful
I ain't
love story.
worked for none of it.
That was a good story, and I really appreciate it. I wanted to know I don't know if anybody wanted to ask questions.
I have a question.
Okay, if you have questions or comments, you can go ahead and put it in the chat, guys. And I'm also going to drop the link to see if you'd like to speak to V. She's allowing you to do so. We could probably take 2 questions, 2 or 3, and then we'll see how it goes from there.
You know, the other thing he taught me, and I realized relationships are not difficult. People make it difficult. Now, I could be in here because I'm the mouth. I could be in here like, oh my God, this happened. Oh my God. And he is just like so calm, right? Or even at times, like maybe the kids would tell him that I did, like, oh, my mom hit me. He didn't believe in that. Like, even though they all like, sometimes I pluck them or do something, right? And like, he'll say to me, when they tell him, and I, like me and him get a chance to talk, and he'll be like, they don't know you're right. My husband will never tell me no, and have never tell me that I'm wrong. But listen to this. I will go back to him, like something will happen. I'll go back to him. I say, why you said I was right? I was wrong. And he told me, he said, as an attorney, I fought for people. As a being
Soldier.
a soldier,
being in the army.
I fought. And he said, I refuse to spend my days doing that. And he taught me every fight is not a good fight. Every argument is not a good argument.
He doesn't have to always.
And another thing that my son told me, my husband have never tell me no. I can make up some stuff and he'll go right along with it, right? But my son told me that he have his ways of telling me no, because I don't sleep at night, right? So I make all these plans. We're gonna go here, we're gonna go to Atlanta, we're gonna go here, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. And I stay up all night working, right? And then in the morning, he's gonna tap me. He said, you ready to go? I'll be like, leave me alone, I'm asleep. Just say yes to me, because he know she ain't gonna get up.
Right.
It's my world. Anything I want is my world. So any questions? Are you there, Carrie?
I haven't seen any questions so far.
Okay.
Yes, Mama Fifi, you are behind. You are way behind. I saw the comments and I'm like, oh, she's way behind in the chat, but that's okay. In the live
Okay.
stream.
Okay.
If you have any questions for V, please let me know. Let her know she's available for a few more minutes.
Do not believe what they tell you. Who they're telling you that to keep you down, and trust in the Lord. I will tell anybody. Sometime I walk in here and I have to pinch myself, and it's nothing but God. The only how again I think I would end up meeting my husband maybe if I was in court, because in the neighborhood that he live in, I couldn't afford it.
Mm-hmm. For those who are experiencing, or for those I'm going to call them survivors,
Yeah.
just realize that no one deserves to be abused, whether you're male or female. No one deserves it. Whoever is doing that or committing that act, they are the ones who need help.
And
You are not the reason for it.
And the
The
thing is,
abuse is not your fault.
starting over is not a bad thing. It's really not a bad thing. And in a situation like that where someone is demeaning you, you have not lost. If you leave, you have not lost. And you could start over again. I'm not saying, well, the thing is, I was about to say, I'm not saying you will end up, in this, but God is no respecter of person. If he did it for me, he could do it for you too. He said, anything you ask in his name, he'll give it to you.
Right.
And that's what I did. You could acquire the same thing too. He's your father.
Well, look at V's question. Not V. Fifi's like, does he have a brother?
Actually, he has 4 brothers, and all 4 of them are attorneys.
And they're all taken. Fifi, you stick around with Marvin, child. Don't throw Marvin away, Fifi. Fifi says she's so happy for you. So
Thank
that
you
is
so
really
much.
cool.
Thank you so much. And I tell you guys here, I have shared bits of my story, right? And some people, I wanted to get to this point here where I could share the other side also, to show that there's life. I mean, I started off, talking about me picking up stuff in the garbage. I don't have to. I do it because I like taking something that is nothing and making it into something. And I still do it. And I'll go there next week and I see my neighbor put on something. Actually, I picked up something last week. And I have no shame.
Let them know you dumpster dive and you don't care. Well,
Girl,
not dumpster.
let
but,
me tell
you
you.
pick stuff up from
Actually, I
the
have a
corner.
video. I'm gonna have a video. I'm gonna show you guys. They're building some new properties in the back of my neighborhood, and they throw away a lot of good stuff. You know those individual brick that they build homes with, like the red brick.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, they throw away a whole bale of it, and I know they throw away another set because I've been out of town for the past few weeks.
You're gonna go check.
Me and the kids. I have a video of my daughter tape me down in the those huge dumpsters, those big metal dumpsters. Yeah, I dumpster dive, and I ain't had no shame about it. Yes,
she doesn't care, and she doesn't have to do it. That's the funny part. She doesn't have to do it at all. But as artists, you see stuff you always want to create. So stuff that may seem like trash to other people.
And I'm gonna show you guys the beautiful flower bed that I'm gonna make out of it eventually. I wouldn't have to buy. That's one less thing I had to buy.
Yeah, because you already visualized what you were gonna do with it.
Yeah.
So that's how arty that I know how.
And tomorrow I'm gonna be somewhere else. I can't say where I'm going, right? But I'm somewhere else tomorrow. But Monday evening, I'll be in another dumpster in the back there with my wheelbarrow getting some more. Don't come on wheelbarrow. Somebody threw the wheelbarrow out and I took it and I had to walk. Let me see. Girl, I had to walk from one end of the neighborhood to the other end, pushing my wheelbarrow. I didn't care.
They must have the crazy ladies out again.
But you know what? When they see her in overalls, because I will wear, those men overalls, I'll put that on, have a cap on my head. Mm-hmm. And then the next time they see me all like this, they know the juice. Mm-hmm. They know the juice. She cleaned up.
But they know you like to create stuff, so that is cool. And you've shown us some of the things that you've created in your home, and your home is beautiful. So
Thank
we
you.
know. And
But let me share this here, right? Let me kind of go from end to end. This right here is when speaking those things that are not as though they are. It does work. People call it manifestation, is in the Bible. This chair here, I found it at a store. That time when Ashley Furniture made good furniture, it was a different color. I'm gonna do a video showing the upholstery of this. I seen it in a store. Mind you, I was raising kids. I had nobody. That's when I was single. That's way before I met him. But I always liked nice stuff. This comes with the love seat, 2 end table, and a coffee table. It was $10,000. And I went in the store and I see it, and I didn't have $10,000, but what I had was faith and a little bit of bargaining. And I will go to the store and I try to get the deal from the guy. One store said to me, Ashley Furniture said to me that the other person can't beat their price. I said, put it in writing. And I went back and forth between the both of them. I ended up paying about $6,500 for the set. I had them talking trash about each other. They was actually say, don't buy it from them because they file in chapter whatever bankruptcy. Don't buy it from them. But I wanted this set, and it was unusual. And I dreamed this one day gonna go in my home. And these were one of the things that is in the home that I didn't know how I was gonna buy it.
But you did. So it's manifestation. It is like other stuff that did.
And the thing is, don't stop. You're gonna say, well, I've been saying that for 6 months, but your faith hasn't been built.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we say it and then we're like, well, look what the 11th hour coming in, nothing happening. We start getting doubtful. You just gotta believe it and dream in it to see it. You want to travel, see yourself on the ship already.
Mm-hmm. See yourself on the ship with a nice wrap. Right. Yep. That's the way to do. Think about how you're doing. See yourself doing activities. See yourself all dressed up, and it'll happen. Because once you speak things, it can happen. It can be manifested. Okay, I haven't seen any more questions. Let me see. Linda says he's able to do exceedingly above all we can ask or think. That is so true, Linda.
And a bunch of people, even going back to the city. And I say, like, we were around there, went up to New Jersey a few weeks ago. And I'm like, I say hi to people. They don't even recognize me.
Really?
I've been told, you got a nose job. You lighten your skin. But it's the goodness of God that's on me because I haven't had any of that. Yeah.
I'm going to stick with one of the things you said, because when I asked you earlier on, what are some of the things that you would point out to somebody who's been experiencing domestic abuse?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that you mentioned is that you must never think that you can change the person.
If God gave us free will, why do you think you could change a man or a woman?
Never think you can take that responsibility. That person has to decide that they want to do good or be a better person, or they have to decide to get the professional help that they need. If you're in a situation, if you're in a relationship where you experience things that we discussed earlier on, whether it's the physical, the verbal, the sexual, the financial, the emotional, all of those types of abuse that we spoke on earlier on, if you find yourself in a position like that, always never think that you can change the person. Never think that what they're doing to you is okay. Never think that you caused them to act that way. You didn't. They made that decision to do so. All right. So I'm thinking we're gonna have to wrap up right now because I gotta go. And I really do appreciate you, V, for taking the time out, because I really wanted for you to share your story with other people, because you never know who you're blessing right now by sharing.
I thank you for the opportunity, because Carrie, I was scared when I saw the title. I'm like, girl, I may not even remember none of that stuff. Like, I don't live there no more. I don't even, honestly, the truth is, and my kids know that to be the truth. I don't remember who is their father unless a conversation come up. I don't think about him. I don't think about him. So I
No, you
thank
don't need
God.
to.
I
You don't
think,
need to, because you found true love and you found
yeah,
somebody who
I thank
treated you
God
the
that
way
he
you need to.
totally, I thank God that he totally washed me. But he didn't wash me without my will also.
Mhm.
I was willing to get washed. I was willing to wanting to lay the mess down and to move in, because he's not going to take you stomping, screaming, or you going, dibbling backwards and da 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 da. It's like bathing and putting on back dirty clothes. You got to just totally set yourself free from it. And I'm telling you, if you could dream a dream, he could do you one better.
Exactly.
And I don't take no shine away from him, because I know it wasn't for him. Because even in the neighborhood, me being a mother that wasn't married, having that many children, it's kind of unheard of. Some man picking you up with like bakkies and taking care
Hmm.
of y'all, and your money is his money, and do 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 do, Section 8, the whole nine. Nothing but God. So I know that I'm truly blessed.
And your story deserves to be heard, because
And
you
I'm
never
alive
know.
to talk about it. Yeah.
Right. You never know who you're gonna help. Somebody needed to hear it.
Yeah.
In the same way, God put you in certain spaces that you could be where you are today. And your story actually ended up being beautiful, because you ended
Yeah,
up
I was kind of scared.
finding true
Yeah, I
love.
was kind of scared, 'cause I'm like, well, I hope I wanted to put in the how we've been communicating. I'm like, well, you're gonna have to ask me questions, because honestly, I don't live there no more. So I mean, I even remember, because I thought we were gonna just like, just touch on like certain things. So when I see the abuse, I was like, oh Lord, did I just talk something up that I can't even do?
Oh no. My thing scared you.
And
My
then and
title.
then, and then the thing is, always I'm the person who root for the underdog. Like I never, even in my situation, nothing changed me, right? I'm still that girl that would go in a garbage can and get some, right? So I never see myself as beyond, and I'm really good as a supporting actor, because I like to see people shine. It's not all about me. So in me getting up in the panel, it's like rarely you'll see, well, even when I do a live, it's sort of uncomfortable for me.
But you
I
did
need to do
really
more of
good.
it. I need to do more of it, because YouTube had demonetized me, because I took a break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you've been doing more live, so that's good.
Yeah, I've
You've
been
been
trying,
doing
because I
more.
feel like that's a way to get, like, because sometimes,
And your unboxing is good. So I've been looking at your
mm,
hauls.
mm,
I've been watching and you're going out and enjoying yourself and showing your
yeah,
clips and stuff.
yeah. I'm
So,
going, actually, I might share tomorrow where I'm going. Y'all wouldn't believe where I'm
ooh, ooh. Where you
going.
go? Oh, don't you? Oh, you're gonna share it tomorrow? Okay.
Maybe to the strip club, maybe to
Oh,
Texas,
ooh,
maybe
ooh,
San Antonio, maybe I'm
ooh,
meeting up with Jay Wilson, maybe me and
ooh,
Tracy gonna hang out.
ooh. Be careful, girl.
Uh, well,
I-
maybe I'll have vacation gate. Oh no, I'm married. I'm sorry.
Not vacation gate. Oh my God. It's a let
Just
me
a
let me
whole bunch of names. I may end up somewhere.
You never know. Once just don't get in any trouble. That's all.
And
Don't get in
yeah.
any trouble.
Oh no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I actually, where I'm going, I'm like, it's a love. It's a
Mm,
love that has developed for the person. I'm trying not to give away stuff, but
mm-hmm.
y'all
Yes.
will see me somewhere tonight.
Okay. All right. I want to thank you so much, V, because I have nobody clicked the link. maybe we gave them everything they needed to know.
Mhm.
But I appreciate those who were able to, still communicate in the chat. By telling your story as a survivor, you
Mhm.
let other people know that it's possible,
It's
to overcome.
possible,
It's
and it's
possible to
okay
overcome
to move on,
trauma, challenges,
and you're not
domestic
alone.
violence.
Yeah, you're not alone. Like, there's no shame or yours, because that's what got me. Do you know guilt and shame will kill people? Staying in the
Hmm.
mess. Because I was worried, oh, well, I can't tell nobody. Ain't nobody going, oh my God, I can't let nobody know this. I can't, like I caused the mess, you know? And you could die in shame in trying to hold on to somebody else's mess, and it's not yours.
No, it
Free
doesn't
yourself
belong
from
to
it.
you. It doesn't belong
Free
to you.
yourself from it. And listen, in freeing yourself from it is not freeing to get into something else, because 9 times out of 10 is like how long I take to recognize who he is, because had I had an eye for abusers.
Mm.
Take the time to heal. Take the time to pour into yourself. Get selfish. Get dressed. It's like what they tell you in the plane, or if you go on a ship.
The
They,
oxygen
they
mask.
give you they give you directions to put on. Even if you with a
You
young
are
baby,
first.
put on
You
your
are
mask first.
first.
Put on your life jacket first before you help anybody else. And you have to
Exactly.
get selfish and say, you know what? I'ma choose me each time. I ain't gonna let you. You have one life to live. Why you sharing that with somebody who don't mean you no good?
And then you will end up taking your own life trying to save that person.
Girl,
Don't
and
neglect
and
yourself.
and the thing about you paying somebody back for the stuff they do you, including cheating. Well, okay, he cheat on me, I'm gonna go cheat on. Girl, no. The best thing that you could do to someone who do you something is let them see you do better. Um, he he do this, like the dumb stuff I thought about. He did this. I'm gonna go kill myself, and I'm gonna make him find me. How is that gonna make my life
Uh-uh.
better?
That is selfish. That's a
That
selfish
is
act.
dumb. That's the devil. That's all in between. And girl, that friend that told me, she said years from now, you're gonna look back on this and laugh.
Hmm.
And girl, hee ha ha.
And I'm happy that that friend was there to support you. Also, his
Yeah, we still
family,
talk.
right? And his family
Actually,
who
she
were
is the
there.
only one that stayed in touch. When I met him, I've heard, girl, don't marry him, just take the money. And bit by bit, everybody just exit stage left. I
Maybe
will
they're
call them, leave messages, they never return any phone calls.
maybe they were supposed to. That's the way I look at it. Some
Hmm.
people are not meant to be on the
Hmm.
journey with you. So some people have to leave off at some, leave them at the bus stop. They weren't meant to go on your journey. So
Hmm.
thankfully that one friend stuck out with you. Thankfully there were other people who were placed strategically in your life to help you along the way. It may not have moved as fast. The progress may not have been as fast as you wanted it to, but it
Hmm.
did end up happening. And I'm so happy that you were able to use your experience to help others, to show them that there is indeed a way
There's
out.
life.
Your
There's life
story,
after all of that.
right?
Um, there's no repentance. You can't go back after you don't take your life.
Exactly.
You can't go
So
backwards. And nobody ain't worth it. God give us one life to live. They can't live theirs and yours. Like, listen, what they say in that movie by Felicia?
Um, I want you guys to go ahead and check out Designs by V's channel. Ronnie Q dropped it in the chat. Thank you so much for dropping her channel throughout the live. So go ahead
Thanks,
and
Ronnie
subscribe to
Q.
Designs by V. She
Thank
design
you guys.
Ronnie
Sorry.
Q says that this was a good show. And this is all thanks to V. This is all thanks to
Thank you.
V.
I
That's
actually,
who made it a good show.
listen to this. I actually jumped up on the channel when Carrie had asked me. The conversation was women being submissive to men, and they're like, no, they will never be submissive. And the question, when I came up on the panel, and because I've had the raw end of disgusting and I've had the pretty of the love, I had to say sometimes we miss the red flags and we submit to things that's not worth submitting to. Like, for instance, I'm submissive to my husband. Submissive does not mean controlling, it does not mean disrespectful. Like, everything he has, my name is on it. But you know what I still do? Because I'm grateful. I'm not doing it just because, but that's just who I am. I still will say to him, because I got a license, but I don't drive, right? I say, still say to him, say, babe, I'm thinking about getting such and such. Because a marriage is a union. There's no I in that team. So anything, you know, is worth me. I like that interaction. So that's how I jumped up on the panel, because the women were saying, oh, I ain't gonna let no man do this. I ain't. But sometimes we give ourselves to the wrong, you answering to the wrong call. I don't
get it.
I don't make any move without me asking him, because I'm comfortable doing that. And he gave me the freedom and the free will, even if I don't add nothing to the pot,
Mm.
that I could do what I want to do. But I'm comfortable with saying, I don't like where the staircase is. Can I knock it down? And guess what he gonna say? Yeah. Because I did it. Carrie, you see me knocking my stick, stop me knocking the wall down and putting the staircase where I want it. Is she still there? Oh my
I'm
God.
sorry, I had to mute real quick. I'm sorry, I'm back.
Okay.
I was
No,
listening to you.
no,
I heard you
I
about the
was,
staircase and stuff,
yeah, yeah,
but I had to run back to the phone real quick.
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, and he gave you the free reign, like you
And
were
he's
saying, to
like,
do
he
stuff
said,
to make you feel
I bought the house
comfortable.
for you. He said, do what you want to do.
I'm just happy that your
Oh, submission.
situation changed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I was muted.
Carrie, I think we had that
Anyways,
conversation too, and you like, you kind of said it along that line too, but it's the wrong person sometimes we give that to. It's not control.
girl, listen, mm,
It's not control.
I remember that conversation, but I can't. I gotta whisper to say this one. I can't have certain people can't control me. I just can't do
What
it.
I'm saying is what is either that person
Let
is
me take you
increase,
off speaker while I say this.
is either
It's
they're
what
gonna increase
it's
you, is either they're gonna increase you
oh,
or decrease you. Control, nah, you need to have
I
that room. But I also believe
I
in respect.
I that's the part I would much prefer to say. We should respect each other's views and respect each
Well,
other's boundaries and communicate,
yeah.
our needs and desires. I
Well,
don't
I
want
would
anybody
say,
feeling like they got total control over me. I don't do well with control.
well, it's not total control because I still get half of the 99% of the things that we do is my idea.
Right. But you girl, you are spoiled anyways. So but he, like I was saying, like I said earlier, he knows he loves you. He
Mhm.
loves you.
Oh, this is
And
what I tell
he
you, and then I'll
also
go. This is what I tell you, and then I'll go. He
okay.
told me the first day he saw me, he knew he wanted to see me again. The second time we met up, he know that he wanted me in his life.
Yeah, he knew.
The next couple times we met up, he said, I know I couldn't live without you.
There you go.
So saying all of that, man, if a man is really into you,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to go with the what if, what. If he is really into you, he'll just lay the cards out. You don't have to guess or think what.
Mm-hmm.
And a psychologist said that to me. Well, I'm gonna say who the kid's on. She had said that to me like way before, like when she was telling me about the reason why I should leave this alone, her brother. She said this has
Mm-hmm.
gone on too long. She said a woman should never give a man, if her desire is to be married, a year is too long. A
Mm-hmm.
man makes up his mind the first time he
But
sees you,
he
like,
looks
wow,
at you. Yep,
yes.
I want this is what I want. This
Before,
is who
yeah,
I'm
in
seeing
six
myself
months,
with.
she said in 6 months they know.
Mm-hmm.
She said that 6 months is a long time. She said within 6 months they know they want to lock this down. They can't live without you. So that's it. Guys,
I want,
thank you so much. I
thank you
appreciate you.
I appreciate you for coming up. You did really good, V.
Girl,
So
I didn't even end
despite
up drinking. I put wine here for me. I didn't even end up drinking the wine.
what were you sipping on? You were sipping on something earlier on.
Oh, I was grapefruit juice.
Okay. Well, that did it, and you did really good. I'm thanking you so much for sharing, for being vulnerable, and at the same time, you inspired
I know
somebody out
I
here.
no longer live there, so it wasn't hard. But not knowing, because not knowing how it would have went or how to start, because I'm like, I hope I'm not getting up there. But I'm glad that you walked me through it. And no,
Mhm,
it was not a problem for me to do it because I no longer live there. I no longer answer to anything in this past world. Even when
mhm.
I see this here that bite, it means nothing to me. I mean, I could cover it up, but I know what's under there, big deal.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
you know, he's still my ex speaks
Mhm.
lovely about me, and he actually tell me thanks for raising his children. And, the
Wow,
kids,
even through all of that.
the kids show them how they live in, and he's appreciative.
Yeah, he even though he decided later on not to
But
support.
I'm glad he did it.
All
Glad it,
right,
because
thank.
it taught me how to dream. It taught me how to hope. So
Right,
I don't regret it.
all
I don't
right.
regret it. Did, did
Thank you
I
so much, for.
did I need to go through that? No,
No,
but
you
I don't
didn't.
regret it.
Okay. Thank you so much, V, for coming to share your story. And we're looking out for you. And I'm hoping for those who saw her link in the chat, go ahead and subscribe to her channel
And
so you
guys,
can find out more about
run
her.
my whatever it is, so I could get back up in the algorithm of whatever it is, and
Watch a
I
few of
have
her
lots more
videos, put it
content
on
for you guys.
autoplay.
I have lots more content. Like I said, I've been doing lives lately, and I have like a couple hauls to show you guys on my travel. Some of the things that I purchased, and soon I'll be back for the fall doing home decor and stuff like that. But I appreciate you all, and thanks for listening. And I am happy that you had me share my story because people, in times when you share with them, they may think like it's bragging, but it's something behind all of that. I never shared
Mm-hmm.
that side of the story in its full entirety, but I want
Mm-hmm.
people to see that, what I'm saying? If a man love you, I've learned he just love you.
And he'll show you better than he can say it. And
Because he's an
love is not supposed to hurt.
for her.
Always remember that love is not supposed to hurt. All right, gotta go, V. I appreciate your time, and I will see you when I'll see you around the streets. And thank you so much again for coming up.
Okay, bye.
Okay, let me take you down. Bye, V. Ooh, Fifi says she subbed. Ow, that is so cool. That's what she was on her phone for. Yay! So that's what she was looking down to do. Thank you so much, V. As always, it's really good talking to you. And Fifi said she subbed. Thank you so much for supporting V. That was a really good story. And I really appreciated her taking her time out to come out and, tell us about her story. It had a little bit of trauma, had a little bit of, uh challenges, but the end was really beautiful because she ended up finding her knight in shining armor, somebody who actually really loved her, somebody who was willing to show her, not just love her, to show her that he loved her. This story was truly powerful, a little bit sad at some point, but at the end, it was very inspiring, because it takes a lot to be able to go through all of that and still, you know, be shining at this point. You've gone through all of those challenges and still be here. I had spoken earlier hold on. I spoke earlier on about the different forms of abuse, and I'm reminding you abuse does not happen only to males. Sorry, abuse doesn't happen only to males. It happens to females and males. It doesn't happen to females only. What am I saying? Abuse can happen to anyone. Anyone can be a victim of domestic violence. You could be any race, any age, religion, sexual orientation, gender. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're a couple that lives together in a household. You could also be dating and still be in an abusive relationship. You could be living together or not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter what your socioeconomic background is or your education level. Abuse is abuse. And you have to be able to pinpoint those red flags. Do not act like they're not there. Once you see the red flags pop up, do not ignore them. No one deserves to be abused. And always remember, the abuse is never your fault. Look out for those signs. Look out for the signs. We spoke earlier on about the different ways in which people are abused. We spoke about the financial abuse. We spoke about the emotional abuse, the sexual abuse. Which other one did we speak on? Spoke on quite a number of them. The emotional one, the control, the stalking, the psychological abuse, the coercive control, the emotional abuse, the intimidation, you know. So we spoke on all of those, and you are stronger than you think whenever you spot any of these things happening. Don't be afraid to reach out to someone or find the organizations. Go online and see, you know, the organizations that are there to help. And if people are putting their hands out to help you, don't shoo them away. Accept the help. And I'm going to leave with what V said. V said, never think it is your responsibility to change that person. You cannot change them. That's the one that stuck out to me the most out of all she said. Do not think that you can change them. All right. V says she appreciates us all. And I really do appreciate you for coming up, V, and taking the time out to share your story. And I will see you around the street. Appreciate you, child. That was a really good one. And you did excellent in sharing your story. I'll see you guys around on the streets. And do remember to subscribe to this new channel. For those who are on the second channel, I'm going to be doing most of this type of material on my second channel and allow the other channel to stay with the beef sector. Okay. Hey, Strictly Platinum. I don't know if you were here in the clouds or if you just came in, but we're about to go. I appreciate you all for dropping by. This was a good one. And remember the signs of abuse. Abuse does not equate to love. Love is not supposed to hurt. Bye.